So let me get this straight. You want me to just pontificate about who I think is really annoying and just riff on it. Really. That's my life now. That's what you want. Wow. I'll tell you what, fellas. Life is a lot different than it was a year ago. I never thought I could live in a world like that. We're going to cover some ground today. Some postulations I have. But the direction things are going, what we can do in the meantime, as the bodies are rolling in. On my most recent video, we had God Mode enabled, who is a dual agent. Someone who's still very much a centrist, okay? Doesn't like the right wingatry of the channel, it seems. Thought he was on our side, but he went and told Sitch and Adam that we're white nationalists, me and Fist. Which I think is hilarious. But he said, define right wing, you keep using that phrase. And I'm trying to condense these ideas down to something very simple. You know, what is it? A law is something the common man should understand, right? Simplify things. That's what I try and do. I used to call it universal knowledge, right? Reduce something to a boil as a starting point for further discussion. Something we can all get on board with. So I says to him, right wing is acknowledging that racist and anti-Semitic are illegitimate terms. They don't have universal definitions, just a very targeted political purpose. Now, of course, that targeted political purpose is anti-white, but I feel as though that's a good starting point because we're going to see a lot of recurring themes of what it does to your brain when you believe racism and anti-Semitism, transphobia, the obics, the isms, the idics, thinking they exist and have a universal meaning, what that does to your brain, okay? You might think to yourself, Artie, you call yourself a liberal, but how are you so good at being racist and anti-Semitic? Those aren't things. I'm actually a pretty moderate person. Those just aren't things. You got to really dig your heels into your own autism. So, someone says, base department, nice. Someone else says, you were the first person I heard say this, and I genuinely believe it at this point. And that is the goal. To genuinely believe it. Because the definition of a word is its application in society. And how is that applied? Well, look at the UK. Look at how discussions go when someone calls you racist or anti-Semitic. You might lose your job, lose your friend circle, kind of casts a scarlet letter on you, so to speak. And to go a little further into this, I think Wyatt in the chat brought up centrism. Here's the direction I'm moving in. So somebody had said, I agree with spoon, aristocratic utensil. More, the center is leftism, light. The right is a solid red. A solid red that must be absolute, unmovable, and uncompromising. Now, I understand that perspective. But the way that they have ceded or taken so much ground, how we have ceded so much ground, is through language and normalization of language. And I said that's giving the center to the left instead of taking it. The center is normal. Right wing is normal. And when you think about it, it is. Responsible immigration. The liberal principle of freedom of association, not forced integration. These are very new things that we're going through. Things that are not very normal, that they would like to make seem normal. And so, with the centrists, I hope to take that ground and bring that back to the right. The starting point isn't liberalism. It's really being right wing. Now, What we're going to be covering is a really insufferable leftist. How much of a leftist is he? You know? We're going to be covering PapaGut. And PapaGut had a pretty legendary crash out. Now, he's caught up in this racism idea with the Somali fraud going on, and he thinks it's just because they're black and so they're being targeted. And he believed in racism way too close to the sun, okay? If you guys know who Caleb Hammer is, over 1 million subs on YouTube. He does financial audit. And he's apolitical. I enjoy his content. And they kind of have fostered some sort of relationship with one another. He called him a friend. And he said some stuff about that guy who's got way more influence than he does over a really funny miscommunication. And boy, oh boy, is it embarrassing. Oh, he eats his balls. But you might think to yourself, well, the left is way more annoying than a centrist. The left is more dangerous than a centrist. The left has cohesion. The centrists don't have cohesion, but the centrists act as a bottleneck of preventing people from moving toward the right. There's a gun in the middle of the table. There's the left, there's the right, both going for the gun, while the centrist is sitting there talking about why or why not the left or the right should go for the gun before one of them picks it up and blows off the head of the centrist. The centrist is much more annoying. I might get more incensed when I'm talking about PF Jung, the centrist, who clipped me out of context pretty hard in a video, but the leftists are low-hanging fruit at this point. You can't debate them. What are you going to debate a leftist about the Somali fraud? Is that what you're going to do? Is that really up for debate? They're just going to call you a racist. Now, the centrist goes, hey, we're not crazy like the left, okay? We're not going to call you a racist. Unless, of course, you're being racist. Which is just a witch hunt. Which is the entire issue. Which is why you have to be right-wing. Now, PapaGut, what's his political affiliation? He's a left-leaning progressive overall, okay? So when I say like a leftist, you might think communist, socialist, but we still have these like capitalist leftists, right? Like your Destiny, like your short fat otaku dev, where they're gonna really, they're degens. They're gonna support the lifestyle, the social leftism, but be like, hey, we're reasonable people on the left. And that's completely debunked and not even a conversation anymore. But the centrists are like, hey, no, we're even more reasonable, but still take some things from the left. Now, PapaGut has been apparently from community descriptions, especially on Reddit in H3H3 production circles, he's frequently described as a chill Jewish guy who is progressive. This is what's fun about being right-wing, okay? Now, on the anti-communist arc, still being a liberal, you have to always ignore the moo references, okay? Now I can embrace them and go, didn't know that. Just found that out tonight, actually. He's anti-slurs, anti-Elon Musk, anti-Trump, but he's critical of Hassan Piker, okay? So much like how the centrist is like, hey, we're pro-capitalist. Oh, congratulations. We're against trans and the kids. Oh, wow, brave. Oh, it's like you're trying to be normal. But they still think that these left concepts exist, and they still frame reality through a left verbiage. Now, how does PapaGut feel about socialism? And this is classic with these types. I gotta call them what? Leftist capitalists? Because they're not socialists. They're not crazy. They're reasonable. PapaGut appears to have a critical but nuanced view of socialism. Right there, okay? Now, do we get to have a critical but nuanced view of, further right-wing ideas? No. We got one shot and we'll never get it again. The left gets to try and fail over and over again. Look at Democrat-run cities. What do you think's going to happen to New York with Zoran Mamdani, communist mayor? They get unlimited retries, unlimited respawns. Commie moo, commie moo, commie moo. So, what happened? What happened to our boy PapaGut? Here's what I haven't told you guys, okay? We have this 5-minute clip right here, which I guess we can watch as bodies are rolling in. I guess I can do a little bit of this over here. Also, join the Rumble channel. Because, you know, the YouTube channel isn't going to be here forever. Instead of being caught with my prick in my hands, being like, what do I do when this goes away? We're doing what the left does here, okay? I'm building a parallel structure. Now, if I just tell you to go to Rumble, well, for what? Just go to YouTube. So I'm going to have to make spicy content, which I can do, which will come in due time. So, as we see here, Papa Mutt has a full-blown meltdown, but then he deletes his stream after learning how stupid he looks and can't believe this app is free. So to get this party started a little bit, we're going to walk through it. We're going to walk through the leftist first, okay?
This is 6.
Leftists are low-hanging fruit. This is particularly juicy because his channel's going well. PapaGut's almost at 100,000 subs on YouTube. It's going really well for him. He's getting over 1 million views a month. This is definitely going to put a wrench in his plans because he goes full mask off. But to kind of bring you up to speed a little bit as the bodies are rolling in, let's give you this now deleted compilation of his stream.
607 and is not a transportation company.
That's crazy because the address isn't 607, it's 607 South. So
all of this is predicated on Nick Shirley went to the wrong address, okay? Because he's got a hate boner, he's boner hungry, and he's like, you know what? This is racist that he's going after the Somalis. So there has to be something wrong here. He's just going to go based on what he's heard and go, you know what? It's probably the wrong address. They're probably not open yet. All of the excuses we've heard. Let's see how it goes for him.
this is where they are right now, right? This is where they're supposed to be. He's not at the place that's actually listed on the place. He's dumb. He's an idiot. He doesn't know how to read directions on maps.
Okay. Safari.
I really just need to look at this for this video. I don't care because we just figured out that they're lying about the address. I need to know if Caleb Hammer and their fact-checking team of like 30 different employees were able to figure out that they're at the wrong address because they're at 607 and not 607 South. I need to know like how desperate they are to come guzzle fucking conservative propaganda. Why? Like, what do you do with your money?
Now, noticing he's, I guess we can call it projecting, saying that they're desperate. That's going to bite them really hard.
Just like shove up your fucking ass, or do you actually like spend it on people doing your fucking job? I'm sick of this shit, dude. What the fuck is this? Are you fucking kidding me? That's crazy, man. That's crazy, dude. This is crazy. It's crazy, bro. What the fuck is crazy, dude? You have a fucking, this kid is a retard. Nick Shirley's a fucking retard. He's going around lying about the places he's going to, and you sit there and you go, that's crazy. I'm just in the middle, guys. I'm cum guzzling conservative propaganda because there's no expectation from my fucking audience to fact check anything at all. Taking everything he's saying as a fact when he's not at the correct location on the fucking paper he shows us in the video. Are you fucking kidding me? You have employed.
Now, it turns out he is at the correct place. I should let you know that now. Oh, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt bad, and it's going to be a slow burn, fellas. I'm going to drag his balls through a mile of broken glass.
30 fucking employees, Caleb, where you fail constantly to do basic fucking research as you guzzle this fucking retard's cum. It's so crazy. This fraud is fucking crazy. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? What the fuck is this shit? How do you feel? Like, you are so weak. This is so weak. I don't give a fuck if this is a disproportionate crash out. I don't give a singular fuck. This is weak. This is pathetic. You are the facts guy that sits down and you lecture a bunch of fucking weird liberals about how they can't spend.
Now, you know a leftist is crashing out. The Ben Shapiro, okay? Facts don't care about your feelings from 10 years ago haunts them to this day, okay? Clearly he's being emotional. So he's probably not in a good place to be collecting the facts. Oh, you're the facts guy. That's how you know they are heading down a wormhole.
Spend their money correctly, but you can't spend tens of millions of dollars to hire somebody to do a fucking Google search. That's insane. That is fucking insane. You made a live stream show so you could come gargle whatever fucking narrative makes you more successful. And I don't even think it's about the money. I think you just want people to like you. That's fucking gay. Grow up. You want people to fucking like you? What are you, fucking stupid? Get your shit together and stop fucking supporting lies. This is so basic. It's Google searches, dude. It's Google searches. It's Google searches. How hard is a Google search? He's at the wrong fucking place. He's at the wrong place. It's a Google search. How many people fail to Google search every fucking video? Is it intentional or is it on accident? You put such a high expectation of success onto yourself and then you fail to Google search. Holy fuck, that's crazy though, guys. That's crazy. I love it. I love how crazy it is. I'm the both sides guy. I call out extremism everywhere, unless it's in front of my fucking face and I make money on it. Then I don't call it out, because I don't give a shit. Because it's not about being right. It's about wanting to seem right. I want people to like me. I want people on Twitter to like me. A bunch of fucking losers who sit all day on the internet being racist to like me. I want racists to like me. Hey guys, look at me. I'm a pick-me fucking Asian. I want racists to love me. This is insane. And you want to know why I'm so...
This is how I found out, I guess, that Caleb Hammer has Asian ancestry, because he has to call them the Uncle Tom version of an Asian, a pick-me Asian. Odd. The guy who's so weary of racism, out of nowhere, invokes Caleb Hammer's race. Is he known as being Asian? He's a pick-me Asian. Ooh. Oh, that's gonna sting later on.
Angry because I'm embarrassed with myself for thinking that you were somebody worth being a fucking friend with. But you can't do basic fucking Google searches or ask basic questions. Guys, what's Google? What is Google? How does Google work? How do we do Google? Wait a minute, they're here and they're supposed to be here. Fuck you. What are you doing? You're pathetic. This is fucking ridiculous. This is the sum of your content. This is what the sum of your content has been, Caleb. This is what the sum of...
It's gonna take us some time, okay? Because he has an apology that we're going to listen to after we really drag him through what he said. And if you can believe it, this is fueled by TDS. I know it's hard to believe. We are going to make our way to the TDS.
Your content has been, ever since you started this live show, the sum of your content has been zero fact-checking and just being completely willfully ignorant so that you can be popular or whatever you want. I fucking defended the shit out of you. Are you kidding me?
I defended you, and you do this to me? You know, really the hallmark of a good person, right? Not an emotionally abusive person, which he has to hate himself for being white. He has to. He's on the left. He thinks racism is a thing, and if you think racism is a thing, well, white people bad. That's what it means in society.
And I wasn't wrong. I don't defend people because I'm friends with them, but you want to know what? I'm sure, apparently I let some of my bias leak through. This is the weak men making times hard for everybody. Stop being a weak man. What the fuck happened?
Oh.
Do you understand that this isn't just online slop? This got very real consequences to the rest of the world. It's the wrong place. It's the wrong place.
As always, he's crashing out because think of the world, man. I'm thinking of the world. I'm such a good person. Like, you really, on the left, and we'll see this with the centrists as well, there's this appeal to morality. It really is incredible. It's the absence of God. It's becoming more and more clear to me. The more I talk to fellas on the right that are Christians, their politics becomes their God. It is a secular religion, which is their politics. But their God is themselves, which is influenced by the Moos, which I think I'm going to cover very briefly. I mean, if you look it up right now. Ask if Moodyism is a secular religion to the internet, to any AI. Let me know what it says to you.
It's not the same place. I've already showed that like 5 times. It's not the same place. It's not the same place at all. It's not the same place. Just to be absolutely clear.
So since he ended his stream, it freezes here, just so you know, okay? It freezes at the end of his stream. So he's crashing out going, no, it's not. It's not the same place. It's not the same place. It's 2 different places. It's not the same place. Let's see how this ends.
Well, you guys know it is not the same place. I'll show it one more time. How is this the same place? This is Cedar Avenue. Dude, I think I'm going to start banning you all.
He's going to start banning them.
Banning all of you.
We're telling him it's the same place.
This is South 6th Street. Am I fucking crazy?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Oh, shit, dude, I'm fucking dumb. Damn, I just crashed out for nothing. Holy fuck. Dude.
And he says, holy shit, dude, I'm dumb. I just crashed out for no reason. And then he ended the stream and privated it. Now we have Nick Shirley commenting on this, saying, I've got people to publicly defend fraud and then realize I'm right and then say, I just crashed out for nothing. Why can't people just accept the truth? Everyone watch until the end when he realizes he's wrong. Now that has to hurt. He was really going hard at Nick Shirley, calling him dumb, just for him to be right at the end. Now, it's unfortunate that this
is 607 and is not a
5-minute compilation is all that we have because he privated the stream. Except for one thing. Somebody asks, do you have the whole stream? And he says, yup, it was archived here. So I have the hour and 20-minute stream. We're going to breeze through with timestamps the stream to really let this be the slow burn that it has to be. Before we get there, PapaGut goes, in my defense, I hadn't eaten in at least 20 minutes because he's fat. Anyway, my response is pinned if you're interested. So, before we get to PapaGut's very embarrassing tail between his legs apology, what do you say we go right to the source? The original stream. So, most people have seen that 5-minute crash out. I don't believe anyone's had the time to go through his actual stream. Fear not. We're going to make our way to the crash out within a few minutes. But I'm showing you the stuff no one has shown you. So, oh, actually, also, some people gave super chats before the stream started. For some reason, StreamYard didn't keep them, so I couldn't read them on stream. I am very sorry about that. I don't know how to get them back. Are they in the chat? I don't see them. I'm very sorry about that. For the chats that I have now, we got Big Time, $10. Thank you so much. Check out Brother Daniel, the Brother Daniel case in Small Hatland in 1962. Oswald Rafason converted to a Catholic and was denied his heritage and ancestry by the Supreme Court of Small Hatland. They hate the orthos or Christians. That sounds pretty familiar. Yeah, this is what I'm saying about the right wing is the center, okay? The post-World War II consensus is convincing us that the right wing is not the center. We will get the land back that they stole from us. Middle-aged plumber for $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Just joined. Wow, what a crash out. You think that's a crash out? You think I'd get you out of bed for that? You think that's a crash out? That's precious. I envy you. All right. Let's go through this stream and see how he came to this head full of steam that he had for this legendary crash out.
Yeah, I wonder. What about this? What about that, dude? Oh, how about the flex? Looking kind of built today.
Yeah, I delete this too.
All right. How's everybody doing today?
I'll watch other people's streams, and there's so much downtime. It's incredible. Where I'm like, oh, is that why people watch my stuff? I would hate to just go, yep, waiting for incoming communication, waiting for some blah, blah, blah. Kind of odd. This is his full-time job too. By the way, fellas, I'm always doing this part-time. Fuck going full-time, dude. This is always going to be part-time. Try to make me do it full-time. I dare you.
Incredible. Look at this guy. Holy fuck. He looks like he has a TBI. Jesus Christ.
All right. We got to get this going. All right, guys. We're back at it again. Time to harass some Somalian immigrants. Am I right? All right. Anyway.
So he's just harassing Somalian immigrants. It's not the fact that somehow these people from a different country were able to come in. Imagine if you immigrated to India and you defrauded the government for hundreds of millions of dollars. What would they do to you? What would they do to you in non-Western countries? This is only a thing that happens in Western countries, I feel like. I don't think you'd make it out alive if you were able to do that, because the government would have to be in on it to allow you to do that, which is our issue. We know that the leftist moo government in these locales, in these areas, aided and abetted this fraud to destabilize the country. But of course, he thinks racism is a thing, so it's just because they're black.
Anyway, you know, obviously I'm joking. I would never do that. Nick, of course, has been making a lot of money doing that. Unfortunately, he did not get a shout out this time on Twitter because it's not there's if he did it like a week later, it would have been able to be like an Epstein distraction, but it's a little too early for the next round of Epstein
escalate into a crash out.
Well, this guy looks like he's aware of everything going on.
They know we're shining a light on the fraud.
They know it.
And they have no defense.
Would you like to see anybody in the government here held accountable?
Most definitely.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that the end of Nick Shirley's other video did not end with a town hall meeting talking about fraud or anything, or that there's been like a ton of convictions.
Terrific.
I believe. Like,
Just
what are we out against their net worth?
Just a disgusting loser, fat slob, dude. It's incredible. The hubris of these people makes them so delicious.
It's very interesting. It is very interesting because like they can't go after Biden anymore. He's gone, and Kamala hasn't said a word. So Walz is the next one up. This is the new boogeyman. That's why it's Minnesota. That's why the GOP. That's why the local GOP. I guarantee you called up. I know that they worked with Nick, but they called up Nick to get him over there. It's all set up. Trump is literally calling governors and different people in different states to be like, I need you to steal this election for me. I need you to find votes. That's what he was doing when he tried to insurrect the government. You think it's beyond him to have like to call like Minnesota GOP and say you need to get this fucking absolute.
Now, they're not conspiracy minded, okay? It's not that Nick Shirley was already a content creator. They can't imagine someone individually doing something, right? It's confession through projection. He knows that this is how the left does things behind the scenes. So then the right must be doing this. It couldn't be because the fraud is so brazen and they got so much street muscle that nobody wants to say anything. It couldn't be that. It has to be racism. Curious.
Intellectually disabled fucking like slow speaking idiot here to put eyes on Tim Walz as another distraction from the fact that I'm in the.
In PapaGut's defense, Nick Shirley does speak like a moron. He does speak like a dullard. He is not good on the mic. Now, I don't care because of the billions in fraud. That's what I'm saying. This is why you can't do the centrist thing, dude. Sure, he sounds dumb and he sounds like a child when he speaks, and he misspeaks all the time. Absolutely. I completely agree with that. That criticism is null and void to me because of, I don't know, the violence going on in the streets in Minnesota, dude. Like, I fucking can't, dude. Imagine being in the gulag and you're like, yeah, but I don't think Stalin's socks are matching. How do we worry about the gulag stuff before we worry about that,
Religious Mormon guy didn't know what the word benevolent meant. It's a literal religious word. That's number one. Number two, have you guys ever been to like fucking Chinatown or something? Everything's spelled wrong. Like, who gives a shit? Right? And number three,
have you guys ever been to Chinatown? Listen to this cope. They spell things incorrectly. So like they can't spell. So definitely let them be around your developing mind, toddlers and children. Dude, they can't even speak the language. Let them raise your kids, dude. It's not going to get any better. It's going to get decidedly worse, dude. What a cope that is. Yeah, dude, people, they're from a different country. They can't speak the language, so give them millions of dollars and let them raise your kids. But he can't think that because racism.
Demand like app-based as well. I mean, this is just poor infrastructure. And honestly, let's be real, it's capitalism. That's why there's so many different companies. It's so funny that the undertone of a lot of these, like, hey, there should be one centralized structure. It's like, oh, okay, so like something that's like more socialist. Oh, no, we're anti-socialist. It's like, okay, we guys gonna have to kind of pick one.
Do you really have to pick one, or is it like a mixed market economy? Also, socialism isn't when the government does stuff. You can have a right-wing society in which the government, I believe, Pat Buchanan called it economic populism. If it wasn't him, it was somebody else. Where it's like, well, yeah, if the government is going to do something, it's going to be, incentives for increasing birth rates of the native population. Actually covering for healthcare once we close the borders down and take care of your own people. So once you're insular, you can trust the government more once they've proven that they're actually nationalist and have the native population's interest at heart. Easier to trust the government. We don't trust the government because they're globalist moo commies. Pretty easy to decipher. I mean, this is what they do where they're like, you know, oh, like the Nordic model is like socialist. It's like, no, it's like democratic socialism. No, they're insular and they're white. So of course they can take care of their own people a lot more. Crazy how they always point to a majority white country when they want examples of the government actually taking care of the people. But that would be racist. So they can't think that. Do you see how racism clogs up the brain, right? Once you get rid of racism, very easy to think and put the pieces together.
Mafia being part of like garbage disposal companies. I know it sounds silly, but like that's what happens. I'm not saying it's okay, but like the problem here is we're not being proportionate. It's like, oh, there's fraud. The energy is like, oh, there's fraud. They should investigate this. This is a waste of taxpayer money. Not like, oh my God, brown people are fucking ruining the United States, because that's the energy that they have here. It's always Somali, Somali, Somali.
And that's the thing with racism, fellas. You have the energy of a racist, right? You're Nazi adjacent, right? It's very ethereal kind of energy that it's like what James Lindsay says with the woke right-ish, right? You get that, it's witch hunting. You are in the 1700s in Salem, Massachusetts, hunting witches.
Facility or location, they're also paid for the time to sit there and wait for the appointment to end and then drive the person back, so they're paid.
I don't think that that's true. That might be true, but I actually will. I would put my left testicle that's a lie.
He would put his left testicle that's a lie. Wow. This guy really stands behind what he says.
Maybe I'll pull that back because
Maybe I'll pull it back. Dude, there's no grounding epistemology. There's no grounding universal knowledge. It's strictly an oppositional identity. I'll put my balls on it, okay? Sign here. Signed it. Hold on. Can I get that paper back? Nope. You're losing your balls, bitch.
I very highly doubt that they're going to do that. I actually don't believe that that's true. The infrastructure, especially if they're running like Uber and stuff, the infrastructure is going to be like you go to Costco, the person leaves you there,
they just
and then another
can't
vehicle
stand
comes
on
and picks you up.
business.
I very highly doubt that.
There.
And even if that was true, who gives a fuck? But I very highly doubt that. Thank you for the $5 from Random Gamer 6. Okay,
so we can see so far how polluted his brain is, right, fellas? You know how it's a ship is 1 degree off course, right? Then by the time you're at the expected destination, you're very far off course. This is why the epistemology, how you know what you know, is so important. Once you have and this is what I've learned with ortho bros specifically, I seem to jive with a lot, where once you have a grounded epistemology, that's why I can say crazy and wacky things. Because I have a firm grounding in what I'm saying. I like to think anyway. And then if I'm wrong, I get to go, oh, I learned something. Gets to a certain point where you've been wrong so much, where that happens less and less. Discernment.
Remember before when he said it was $8 million a day? The estimated yearly budget in Minnesota is $38 million a year. Let's just do, like, what do you guys think 8 million times 365 is? Oh, it's $3 billion. Well, then how did we only get $38 million?
So he's making the case that $38 million for their statewide budget. So how could it be $8 million a day? How could it average out to that? Well, I mean, just from total money lost and stolen, just from feeding our future, that scheme was $250 to $300 million. $50 million of wiggle room, which is more than the $38 million total budget. $50 million of wiggle room. Broader investigations across related programs estimate losses exceeding $1 billion in taxpayer funds. $1 billion. PapaGut, I don't know how you don't know this. Probably because it's racism. With some preliminary or speculative figures from officials and reports suggesting potential exposure up to $9 billion or more. There's so much fraud, right? Where it's hard to keep track of it. So when they have the argument of, oh, well, there's already been like 50 of them prosecuted. That's a lot. Do you think it ends there? No, it keeps going. And that's where Nick Shirley came into play. Very easy. Could explain it to a kindergartner, right? If you introduce racism, hard to think. Understandable. I understand his epistemology, okay? Do you see how I'm not even mad yet? I think I'm going to be mad with the centrists because I'm so used to the leftists. The leftists are demons. They're not human, okay? I already get that. I understand it. The centrists really pissed me off lately, though. Fellas, thank you so much for being on board with attacking the centrist. Oh, I wanted to go in that direction. I didn't know if I'd have people on board. Thank you so much for being on board with that, because that's going to be really fun, and I view that as actually very important in the next step of driving people more right-wing.
This guy has too much time on his hands. Like my mother. My mother is retired and doesn't do anything all day. So she has dogs and she feeds chickens and she goes outside and feeds cats. I'm not kidding. There's chickens at her house now. She feeds cats and she goes around. She's calling everybody 15 times a day and she's doing this and she's doing that. This motherfucker is driving around looking for black people because he's so fucking bored.
That's what he's doing. See how racism? I'm going to beat you over the head with it because they've been beating us over the head with it, and we got to break that cycle, fellas. I can tell it to you, but it's hard to do because it's so deep-seated in your brains, your friends' brains, your coworkers' brains, your family's brains, society's brains. That takes a little bit of elbow grease to get it out of there. We're coming up on the crash out. Get ready. So now here's where he makes his fatal flaw. You see, he's primed himself, right?
All right.
He's trying to make it
Cedar
happen.
Avenue
There has to be
Is this
something
what we're
wrong
looking at
here. That address.
Thank you for the 11-month small gut from Isaac.
There's got to be
Can
something
we get a full
wrong.
reaction with the
What is it, man?
This is 607
This is-
and is not a transportation company.
Ideological alchemy. He is trying to turn lead into gold right now, okay? There's got to be a way that something's wrong here.
It's not 607. Wait, is he serious?
Main road right and also 617. And so the
Wait, am I
location here
wrong?
is
It's 607 Cedar Avenue South.
607 and also 617. These are two transportation companies. We're all on a main road right now, and this is 607 and it is not a transportation.
Hold on, dude. Hold on a second.
It's got to be true. It has. Actually, you know
967.
what? Very short detour. Here is how I know what I know, as I said on Ben Boyce. So right now, he is viewing the world objectively. This is naive realism. And he thinks that if someone disagrees with him, they are defunct in some sort of way. So quick 2 minutes on how I developed this myself to try and figure out what's going on with all of these crazies around me. I started to see these things kind of politically. And so I was really fascinated with cognitive biases and just with psychology in general.
Okay.
So for example, I came up with this probably like 7 or 8 years ago, where it's like a cycle of cognitive bias, where first it's the availability heuristic, where your brain immediately assigns priority to the first thing it thinks of, which is the emphasis on propaganda surrounding us. Because then when you see something like black man being killed by police officer, if you're already primed, you go, oh, well, it must be this thing that my brain can quickly call upon. And then that leads to the false consensus effect. So then people start to overestimate the frequency in which these things happen because it's more prevalent in their mind than it is in. So he's overestimating so availability heuristic, racism, false consensus effect. He assumes that this is obviously true and that more people believe that it's true than actually believe that it's true. Reality.
Mhm.
And I mean, the false consensus effect, you can see it with really with 2016 with Trump, where they overestimate how many people are going to vote for him with polling and stuff like that.
Mhm.
That leads to naive realism, where you think, and this is where James gets caught up, you think you see the world objectively, and those that disagree with you must be defunct.
Or in a cult.
not-
He's called
they're
me
missing.
lost in a cult for
So
asking.
if you disagree
critical
with him,
questions.
there must be something you're missing. There must be something there must be something wrong with you. You must be
Yeah.
defunct in some way.
Okay.
and
good
then-
point, yeah.
And then the fourth one, my favorite one, is pluralistic ignorance. In other words, the silent majority, where people publicly assume something is true, even though it's majority privately rejected. And this is where the left really likes to thrive, with the acceptance of gender identity and whatnot.
Mhm.
And so yes, that's how I have come to this conclusion. So when I view someone like this at this point, I'm like, oh, okay, I understand like the 1 degree off course he went from the shore. I can't wait. Where's Caleb? Give me the Caleb. Oh, God. So apparently he's fostered a relationship with Caleb Hammer, okay? And like they message each other in the background. And so Caleb Hammer is covering this live. Now you can see how PapaGut has really gassed himself up. At this point, it's been an hour of him sucking his own shit through his nose, okay? He really has gotten himself all worked up. Oh yeah, before we get to the juice, let's check in with the little fellerinis. Phoenician for $5, thank you very much. Cofill Timer B, Big G Gay. How will you escape this one? Ritulius Defectus III, if that is your real name. Nah, dude, I'm telling you, part-time is where it's at. I'm telling you, man. I need time for things to happen. That's how I feel so far anyway, but I don't know. Just seems it can't be taken away if it's part-time. Double Bumble for $5. Thank you very much. No matter how much you hate these people, they hate you more. That's a great quote. That's a good one. That's going in the back pocket. Coom of Doom for 25 of something that doesn't matter to me because it's not American money. Worst part is that the anti-ICE campaign worked, and now most people in the country are against mass deportations, even people like Rogan, which is sad. Debatable. Now, that could be the availability heuristic, because that's the information that you've been exposed to, right? So instead of declaratively believing that to be ultimately true, take it with a grain of salt. Believe that it has a high degree of being true, but you can't declaratively know that, but I understand why it would feel that way. Kosher Bosher Salt, 15. What on earth are you people giving me? That's a symbol, motherfucker. What the fuck? Thank you, though. Been watching since triple-digit subs. That's what's up, buddy. Very much appreciate that long-term support, even in just your viewership. Finally get to watch live. Love what you've been doing. Keep doing it, and please take my shekels. It's that stuff. Even early on, when I was in the triple-digit subs, people would just comment to keep going. And I'm like, oh, this appears as though it's kind of important to people. And he just became a member. Feller. Almost forgot to knight you with the hard R. Very much appreciated. Akakeen Green Moon, 50 of something that Fist always says, but I can't remember because it's not American money. Thank you. It makes sense. The cows are a roadblock. Yeah. The centrists are a roadblock. Have to remove the roadblocks so we can get things sorted. Exactly. However, we cannot physically move them. We have to linguistically and ideologically move them. We must take the ground linguistically. We are normal. They are weird. By historical definition. Bill Clinton skin suit, member for 1 month. The Moos want you to stay by. Oh, no. See? Oh, that does it. See? That's how you be compelling to me. If you tell me I'm doing what the Moos want me to do, that technically is true. Revolutionary for $2. Thank you. Artie, you're a great man, even if you hate feet. I'm not going to go off on a tangent. That's going to be for the end of the stream. And after a rip and a piss, I'm going to be on. Okay. Anyway, thank you, fellas. So now here's where the crash out is going to start. Because this boy, just in case you don't know, actually, let me just improvise this for a moment. You should know what is at stake with what he's about to do. Holy moly. Caleb Hammer at 2.84 million subscribers. That's a big account. That's a big chunk of change right there. That's big boy stuff. And apparently, he's like been on his live stream. PapaGut's been on Caleb Hammer's live stream, okay? And the way he phrases it, and I know how to decode these things at this point, allows PapaGut to disagree with Caleb, which means PapaGut is trying to spit his commie gobbledygook at Caleb, and Caleb takes it. That's what he means by that. So he's fostering a relationship. He considers them to be friends, okay? How far are we in? Nice. We're ready for a crash out. Let's go.
I'll tell you the roster.
All right,
Dude, I'm fucking so irritated. This is so fucking annoying. How, like, dude, it's so bad. This one's worse than the other one, honestly. Thank you for $10 from Buller. Probably got your IQ showing because Nick is clearly wearing Roddy Piper's glasses from the movie They Live, where only Nick can see the real physics stuff.
State's office.
So somebody from the chat brings up that Caleb Hammer is watching this live. Now, from what I've told you so far, PapaGut thinks that Caleb obviously, false consensus, overestimates how popular his opinion is because he's gassed himself up with the availability heuristic, only taking in certain information, and it creates a mental shortcut because the information he can most recently recall upon must be true because it immediately occurs to his brain. Who's ready for the fucking dose of naive realism?
Transportation. It's all just looks like money wiring. But if you look at the Secretary of State's office, state of Minnesota, Safari
I really just need to look at this for this video. I don't care because we just figured out that they're lying about the address. I need to know if Caleb Hammer and their fact-checking team of like 30 different employees were able to figure out that they're at the wrong address because they're at 607 and not 607 South. I need to know like how desperate they are to come guzzle fucking conservative propaganda.
Registered right here. It's 617, but it's a liquor store. So the location here is 607.
The location there, just so you can see, I just want to be very clear, Mr. Hammer, there's a bunch of you guys here. This is your job, and it triggers the fuck out of me because we're supposed to be friends. This is 607 South.
Did you hear how he said we're supposed to be friends? Okay. So right now, his ideology, right, his political religion, right, this is an act of blasphemy. And I know fellas in the audience might be weird about Protestants, but Joel Webbon has been spitting some game. And I have criticism of Joel Webbon, but he really convinced me. He sold me on Christian blasphemy laws because blasphemy laws will exist no matter what. And we've seen it. I mean, look at Holocaust denial. That's blasphemy, okay? So logically, as a dogshit atheist materialist, if blasphemy laws will exist no matter what, which it has been proven no matter what, blasphemy laws will exist. I cede the ground to the Christians. And I already don't even blaspheme Christ. It's really easy. If I don't blaspheme Christ, you guys let me say whatever the fuck I want to say. So that's a really easy concession to make, and I'm really a free speech absolutist, okay? So that's an easy draw for me.
They're at 607. I want to show you on a fucking map the difference between where they are. The 45 of you should have been able to figure this out. This is where they are. This is where they're supposed to be. These are not the same place. These are not the same place. Notice how this is what the streets look like. Notice how this is what this street looks like. This is a collective of different office buildings at the, whatever the fuck this is called, a resource center in Minnesota. This is where they're supposed to be. This is where they are showing on the screen.
He's clap talking. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. He's acting like a black. He's clap talking, inarticulate, overly emotional. They stole what made him white from him. Okay. And so how does he act? Like a non-white. How does a non-white act? How do you think? What do you see? Am I being annoying right now? Yeah, exactly. Right. Let the white in. Be who you were supposed to be. Fulfill your destiny. Okay. And fellas, it's going to be cringe rebuilding a white identity. Okay. It's being built. All right. It's going to be weird. It's going to be things to criticize. Absolutely. We're trying to work the stuff out. Okay.
Right now, this is where they're showing on the screen. Right here. This is where they are, Caleb. Did you guys fact check this? It is very simple. It is a Google search. It is putting in a little bit of effort to figure this out. I really would like to know. Or are you going to say, oh, that's crazy, and take it as a
revolutionary for $2? Already just convert already. You're already one of us. Yeah, but why does God allow bad things to happen? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's a joke. I'm kidding. I didn't mean that. Okay. I just know that that's so annoying.
fact. I'm really sick and tired of it because I like Caleb, but like realistically speaking, our friendship is fractured because I can't handle the superior unintelligence of something.
The friendship is fractured. Okay. The friendship is fractured because Caleb, by the way, he's only heard him speak for literally 5 seconds. Okay. So now the friendship is fractured. Now that's a good friendship to hang on to, right? If I was in PapaGut's position, I would be, you know, critical in general, where I'm like, oh, that's unfortunate that he missed that, even though I thought something was true. Just coach your language. Be certain when you are certain. He is not certain. He feels as though he is certain. Huge difference.
Somebody who says they just follow the facts. I can't deal with it. I can't deal with somebody who says I'm a fact guy and then doesn't Google basic fucking information. They're lying about where they are, or they're so incredibly fucking stupid they don't know. And you have a fact-checking team of people who can do this for you. I am an obese man in my own fucking basement that's able to do basic Google searches. I don't understand how I came to this conclusion.
I don't understand how I came to this conclusion. It's just like chef's kiss to having no epistemology. Is no grounding. I don't know how I came to this. I just randomly arrived at it. Yeah, you're gonna pay for it dearly, dude.
So let's just see that you guys go, wow, that's wrong. That they're lying.
And also 617. These are two transportation.
Let's see if they say it.
We're on the main road right now, and this is 607. And it's not a transportation company. It's actually a money transfer.
A money transfer.
This does not look like.
I don't see any signs denoting that there's any transfer.
Why? Like, what do you do with your money? Do you just like shove up your fucking ass, or do you actually like spend it on people doing your fucking job? I'm sick of this shit, dude. What the fuck is this?
So this is what's great. This is mask off. Like, where the reason why the atheist commies and moos do this as well, because they don't believe in a God. Moodyism is a tactic, not a religion, okay? So they really need to show that they're good people, right? That's the mask. Now, the mask really slips here, and you hear what he really thinks about Caleb, and he's also at some point going to bring up how he's thought this about him for a while, and he said this to his wife privately, and she told him not to say it publicly. Like, the mask really comes off. These are the people that call you hateful, right? Remember that. Remember how much hate they have and how you cannot out-hate them, okay? You'll never out-hate a hateful person, okay? Sure, you're frustrated. This is what hatred actually sounds like. The people that call you hateful, this is what they are really like behind their mask. And do not forget it.
This. Are you fucking kidding me?
It's all just looks like money wiring. What the Secretary of State's office?
That's crazy, man. That's crazy, dude. This is crazy. It's crazy, bro. What the fuck is crazy, dude? You have a fucking... This kid is a retard. Nick Shirley's a fucking retard. He's going around lying about the places he's going to, and you sit there and you go, that's crazy. I'm just in the middle, guys. I'm cum guzzling conservative propaganda because there's no expectation from my fucking audience to fact check anything at all.
Really heavy on the eating cum.
There's no expectation. My audience doesn't want me to be correct. My audience wants to guzzle shit. My audience wants me to guzzle fucking cum. That's all they want. Guys, I'm in the middle, but I completely bow down to my conservative audience. But guys, I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle of kind of normal and completely batshit fucking crazy. That's where I am. I'm sitting here listening to Nick Shirley, who can't even say fucking words, taking everything he's saying as a fact when he's not at the correct location on the fucking paper he shows us in the video. Are you fucking kidding me? You have 30 fucking employees, Caleb. Are you fucking kidding me? What expectation do you set yourself to where you fail constantly to do basic?
Now, a crash out is not complete without looping, right? Brains going in a circle, almost like how an alcoholic has wet brain, right?
Fucking research as you guzzle this fucking retard's cum. I don't understand where it fucking comes from. 0 questions about him not showing up at the opening hours of any of these daycares. 0 questions about him not calling the daycares to try to set up appointments. 0 questions about the fact that these places have violations when it comes to these kids, but somehow the kids aren't there. We don't have any of that, but we get a that's crazy when Nick Shirley shows up to the wrong place. That's crazy. It's crazy. It's so crazy. This fraud is fucking crazy. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? What the fuck is this shit? How do you feel? Like, you are so weak. This is so weak. I don't give a fuck if this is a disproportionate crash out. I don't give a singular fuck. This is weak. This is pathetic. You are the facts guy that sits down and you lecture a bunch of fucking weird liberals about how they can't spend their money correctly, but you can't spend tens of millions of dollars to hire somebody to do a fucking Google search. That's insane. That is fucking insane. You made...
Weird how he's so empathetic toward the Somalians, the people that want to kill him, right? But against Caleb Hammer, who has spoken for maybe 10 seconds, who's even heard Caleb even speak or say anything? He's barely played any of the video. This is the demoralization. This is the self-hatred. And he really thought he had, it's viewing relationships closer than they actually are. So he feels betrayed that this is the purity spiral that he wasn't agreed with in his position right now immediately.
A live stream show so you could cum gargle whatever fucking narrative makes you more successful.
PapaGut, put the cum down, please.
And I don't even think it's about the money. I think you just want people to like you. That's fucking gay. Grow up. You want people to fucking like you? What are you, fucking stupid? Get your shit.
Now, Caleb Hammer doesn't want people to like him. He actually has a very combative attitude on his show, so this is misguided, purely emotional.
Together and stop fucking supporting lies. This is so basic. It's Google searches, dude. It's Google searches. It's Google searches. How hard is a Google search? He's at the wrong fucking place. He's at the wrong place. It's a Google search. How many people failed to Google search every fucking video? Is it intentional or is it on accident? It's fucking crazy. This is insane to me. You put such a high expectation of success onto yourself, and then you fail to Google search.
When something is so crazy and insane to you, pro tip, reevaluate and go, hold on, am I missing something? Don't do this.
Holy fuck, that's crazy though, guys. That's crazy. I love it. I love how crazy it is. I'm the both sides guy. I call out extremism everywhere, unless it's in front of my fucking face and I make money on it. Then I don't call it out, because I don't give a shit. Because it's not about being right, it's about wanting to seem right. I want people to like me.
Oh, very quickly on Rumble, still big time, $5. Thank you very much. To ask for evidence is anti-Semitic. Netanyahu after Biden asked for proof of the 40 beheaded babies. kind of what it means. The definition of a word is its application in society.
I want people on Twitter to like me. Oh, Twitter. Oh my God. These people are so real. I want Twitter to like me. Twitter, please like me. I really want a bunch of fucking losers who sit all day on the internet being racist to like me. I want racists to like me. Hey guys, look at me. I'm a pick me fucking Asian. I want racists to love me. Is it a defense mechanism? What are we doing here? What the fuck are we doing here? I'm sick of this shit. This is fucking.
So yeah, the telltale sign of naive realism is what is the matter with you, not searching as to why. You know, there is no possible way that he could be reasonably disagreed with, right? This is what we see with the commies and the moos, where the commies get it from, the moos. There is no universe in which I could be incorrect.
Bullshit. This is insane. And you want to know why I'm so angry? Because I'm embarrassed with myself for thinking that you were somebody worth being a fucking friend with. But you can't do basic fucking Google searches or ask basic questions. It pisses me off. It's a shame for myself. It's a fucking shame. It's a fucking shame. It's a goddamn shame. But maybe I'm wrong.
Minnesota, Safari Transportation, 607 Cedar Avenue, and it's been registered here since 2015. That was the original filing.
So let's see if we have managers. We can find Todd.
Let's see if we can find it.
How are you? We're looking for the transportation company.
Looking for the transportation company?
Looking for Safari Transportation.
You think they saw the original video? And all of a sudden they're like, oh, fuck.
Oh fuck! You think they saw the original? Do you think they saw the original video and they're like, "Oh fuck, guys, what's Google? What is Google? How does Google work? How do we do Google? How does Google work? Wait a minute, they're here and they're supposed to be here."
Fuck you. What are you doing? You're pathetic.
Ooh, you know, he's really talking a big game right now. It seems almost impossible to walk these things back. Don't worry. We're going to cover his 17-minute apology. Don't worry.
This is fucking ridiculous. This is the sum of your content. This is what the sum of your content has been, Caleb. This is what the sum of your content has been. And ever since you started this live show, the sum of your content has been zero fact-checking and just being completely willfully ignorant so that you can be popular or whatever you want. Like I just don't understand how to communicate to you that you want to be liked so badly on Twitter that you're doing this. But PapaGut, some people were
So this is where racism, the feelings of racism comes from. So you have to explain to somebody else how they're racist. That gets you in the mindset of explaining to someone how they feel in general, right? You're trying to explain to someone how they're racist. Witch hunt. So right now, he's like, how do I explain this to you? Like, think of how condescending that is, emotionally abusive, you know, politically toxic, really just the worst, really a demon, right? That's so certain.
Liberals were mean to me. I lost my fucking TikTok because people on the left took my joke out of context. Am I fucking slurping?
And I love this, right? The leftists, right, got them banned on TikTok. And this is the same thing with Destiny and Twitch, right? Do they leave the left? They're like, no. So it's like, well, shouldn't that be concerning to you? Who are you doing this for then? If there's a faction of your political party that is trying to get you canceled, take away your livelihood, you have to be that demoralized because you have to still believe racism exists. And how often do you hear the left go, oh, because we were mean to you, we hurt your feelings, you're going to go to the right and become a Nazi? Yeah. Just say yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's my fucking TikTok because people on the left took my joke out of context. Am I fucking slurping dick right now, Caleb? Am I slurping?
No, but you're thinking about guzzling cum way more than is humanly healthy.
Dick, or am I holding to my shit? You have no fucking excuse. I already told you I find this behavior weak. To let people, the people on the left were mean to me. I'm a millionaire and they said mean things about me. Nobody believed any of the lies.
This is the carryover from Maoist struggle sessions. That was a physical struggle session. Now in the West, it's much more a psychological war than a physical war. And so you are expected to put up with the most demoralizing, demeaning things that they say to you. Kind of a fusion of the Russian demoralization from Yuri Bezmenov, what he explained in the 80s, where you are expected, they can say whatever they want to you because the ideology is so pure and the most important thing, and you're such a good person that they should be allowed to talk to you however they want. Nope. No one is allowed to talk to you however they want. You are an autonomous person, and you can decide, I'm not a part of this anymore. You do not have to put up with it.
I fucking defended the shit out of you. Are you kidding me? And I wasn't wrong. I don't defend people because I'm friends with them. But you want to know what? I'm sure. Apparently, I let some of my bias leak through. That's weak. This is the weak men making times hard for everybody. This is the weak man. This is the weak man.
Oh my God, him saying that right now, knowing that he's going to do such a long, drawn-out apology afterwards. Oh, that tastes good. That's really good. Kosher Bosher Salt, 6 of something. Thank you very much. I'm going to keep throwing shekels and joy. Thank you very much. It does make the frequencies of streams happening increase. Appreciate it. Colin Christensen, $2. Is his crash out even accurate? No. Sometimes the crash out is. This is not one of those times. Theodore McCarthy, $10. Thank you very much. In the year 1500, there was less than 500 million people in the world. Today, there's more than 8 billion. It was the white man and his works that got us here. That's part of my identity. Correct. It's undeniable. This is why the conversation is always shut down with the left when they go, why can't we be like Europe? You mean Eastern Europe or Western Europe? I'm sorry, go ahead. Tell us which countries are the happiest countries. Is it Norway? Is it Denmark? Is it Finland? Every time. JLM Knight, $5. Thank you. All these Destiny clones have the same tactics. They're immature audience. Your tears say more than real evidence ever could. Now, with PF Jung, he still dabbles with Destiny, and he still keeps some of those Destinyisms. You have to remember, Destiny is the grandfather of politics streaming on the internet. So you will see his essence in people that even aren't necessarily orbiters, but he's been doing this for over 15 years now. So that's a very good point. Sick Vis, Pace, but why you gotta do that to me? Thank you. $2. All of this in defense of Somali water felons. Water felons. Yeah, because he doesn't have his own people, okay? He has other people's people.
Stop being a weak man. What the fuck happened? Okay, being a strong man isn't about people liking you. Oh, I want the conservatives on. I want Elon Musk to really like me.
By the way, he doesn't use slurs, and he calls other people racist because he wants people to like him. Classic.
Guys, what the fuck is the matter with you? Is that what you centralize your life around? I'm so crashed out right now. If my wife saw this, she would tell me to stop.
Here it comes.
Tell me to stop. So I'm going to stop. Because I've had conversations with her about how fucking disappointed I am in you. And she agrees, but she doesn't think I should publicly burn a bridge. But I'm so...
Okay, so he just admitted that he talks like this about him. So this has been building over time, right? If you want a nice one-liner, remember this. Uncommunicated expectations lead to premeditated resentment. If you have not communicated the expectations to somebody else and you resent them, well, that's unfair because they do not know your expectations. But this has been stewing because he wants to convert him. But I don't even know if he knows he wants to convert him because he's just kind of like center left. When center left. This is the center, okay? This is what the center looks like. Center left, right? Center-ish. No, extremism.
So fucking triggered on this shit, dude. Do you realize that they're justifying sending in like different governmental agencies, like agencies to come in here and terrorize these fucking people because of this shit? They're freezing funding for the people in this state now. Do you think that 100% of this is fraud?
Now he's acting like a good guy after going, do you know what you fucking did? Imagine if he was talking to his wife like this, right? Probably fucking does.
Or do you think it's like 5 to 10%? How many kids are not going to get their health care because of this, or their transportation, or people with disabilities, or old people? How many people are out of it?
Notice how he cares about the idea of people instead of Caleb, an actual person, right? It's an ideologue.
Job because of this reckless freezing of funds when this has been in discussion for months. How many people are going to get negatively disaffected because they're fucking black? Because that's all it is. Nick Shirley thinks every Somalian person's a pirate. Did you bother to watch him say that on Andrew Callahan's video? You watch my content, but it's apparently not the content that matters. Did you watch Andrew do it? Did you watch me watch Andrew? Did we watch it? Do you understand that this isn't just online slop? This can have very real consequences to the rest of the world.
Sorry that Caleb Hammer, with a wildly successful YouTube channel that probably works 90 hours a week, didn't catch that specific stream of yours. The hubris.
To the rest of our country. I saw you on Twitter. Hey, Donald Trump, I'm open to seeing. You're open to seeing Donald Trump, the guy that wants to attack Greenland, the guy that's using ICE to go after people and violate their due process, their First Amendment rights, the administration that's trying to strip Mark Kelly of his veteran status because he told officers, law enforcement agents, that they don't have to agree to illegal orders, violation of freedom of speech. That's the guy you want to see. This is like, I don't know how to communicate to these fucking people that any of this stuff. Facts doesn't work. Emotion doesn't work. What works?
Now, since he dodged out of a stream. This last part is frozen, just so you know, okay? But this is stuff that no one else is going to show you. So this is what he said.
What works? What makes you realize, like, hey, you know what? We're having a sloppy time, but this is some real fucking shit here. When do we get to the point where we realize this is some real fucking shit that's going on? That these are real people that are getting terrorized because they're fucking black, because they came from Somalia.
We can agree that he has breasts in that still frame.
My family came from Germany. Your family came from some fucking Asian country. People have come from all different places. Ireland, Italy, Greece, Poland. I have Polish family, and they live in. And you know what? There's Polish communities out where I live. And you know what? I live in New York. There's Italian people who have the mafia that's dug themselves into different systems. Do you see me shitting on every fucking Italian person every day? No.
This is the issue with believing in racism. It's totalizing. So you feel like this about all moos. You feel like this about all black people. It's totalizing. It's like, no, I'm noticing too much of a behavior in a populace. Very easy.
Oh, and it's not because they look white. It's because I'm not a weak piece of shit that justifies white supremacists going around acting like fucking.
And there it is. White supremacist. You know, he's not a crazy leftist. He just calls Nick Shirley a white supremacist. See, he still believes in capitalism. He's not like those crazy commies. He just aligns with them when it comes down to it.
Fools. The weakest people in the world are fucking racial supremacists. They have nothing to hold on to other than the fact that they're skin.
What does he have to hold on to? That. You got to work that out in therapy, dude, not on stream.
Skin color makes them feel good about themselves. They have nothing else of value to offer anybody. So they go, guys, I'm a victim because of my skin color. And you're.
Look at the body of this man that's saying that they have nothing out. Look at this. Is just. Maybe God does exist. Look at this. That's incredible that he's saying that, and magically, as he's talking shit about other people having nothing, that's what he looks like. That's poetic.
Supporting those people when you have a show that's about shaming people for not spending less money and working harder at a job. Tell these young men to get a fucking trade job. We're down 500,000 electricians estimated by next year. We don't get that commentary. We keep it to ourselves. We stay quiet against the white supremacy. It's scary.
Now he cares about the electricians. Anyone but Caleb.
Because I want Twitter to like me. But when it comes to fucking people getting harassed on the streets because they're black, and that's all the fuck it is, and that's all the fuck it's ever been, we're fucking crickets. Because that's why they're getting harassed. Yeah, some of them are doing a fraud. That's bad. It's being investigated. But they're getting attacked because they're black. I don't see any investigations getting mainstream headline news in fucking Texas or Florida. What's going on with that? Where's that going? Where's your coverage of the Donald Trump's phone? That's fraud. He hasn't released that yet. We don't get any of that. We don't get it. We're very selective. We're selective in what we talk about.
I mean, he's saying what about, and it's literally a whataboutism. It's the issues that we want to talk about are never the issues that we're allowed to talk about.
What we talk about are stupid fucking bullshit. We support conspiracy theories, and then we make fun of people with silly hair on the internet because that's more important right now. That's very important to us. That's very...
Yeah, if only we could be like the left and make fun of Trump's small hands and orange skin, then we'd be morally equivalent to them.
Important to make sure that we do that. That is what we need in the society right now, is more culture war. We don't need to call out the fucking lies. That's it. That's where we're at. Thank you for the $10 from Jopa. Don't forget CNC computer numerical control when you talk about trades for those who are interested in computers but still want to trade benefits. That's a good point. I'll have to look into that. Thank you for the $2 from Bueller. Harry's my life resource. Thank you. Thank you for 5,000 Vince Vintage. What's going on, brother? Valid. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for the $10 from, I can't even pronounce your name, Magya Tara Magnus. Sorry, dude, I'm fucking burnt out. A lot of people feel like this PapaGut. You are right. Don't let them gaslight you in places. I appreciate that. Sorry, I'm trying to fucking read all the fan funding. Thank you for $5 from Spaghetti. When I had the LLC, an LLC, our registered address was just a mailbox for legal docs, not our place of operation restaurant. That's where I was looking. Okay. Well, again, it's the wrong address, but I appreciate what you're saying. Thank you for the Inland Small Gut from Blue Banshee. This is why I'm here, Papa Based. I thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for $5 from Gunner FR. For real, love the crash out against Caleb, man, but the address is at the right. Unfortunately, the street names are the same, but I love the energy.
So he's being told that he's incorrect and that it is actually the correct address.
Wrong place. It's the wrong place. It's not the same place. I've already showed that like 5 times. It's not the same place. It's not.
And the left has a habit of doing this, where getting so emotional that they make such a mistake that it's a sunk cost fallacy, where it would just be too embarrassing to go back and correct your mistake because of how steadfast you were in your opinion.
Same place at all. It's not the same place. Just to be absolutely clear. So I'm just letting you guys know it is not the same place. I'll show it one more time. All right, we're going to move on to the video, but just for reiteration, this is the address that they're at. Okay, this is 607. This is Cedar Avenue. This is where they're supposed to be, Cedar Avenue South. They're at the incorrect place. That's where they're at. This is not where they're supposed to be. This is not where they're supposed to be. 3 different places. This to be absolutely clear. They're in the wrong spot.
They have to be.
So it's not the same place. What? How is this the same place? This is Cedar Avenue. Dude, I think I'm going to start banning you all.
I think I'm going to start banning you all. Now, you know, what, it's stages of grief, right?
I think I have to start banning all of you. This is South 6th Street. Am I fucking crazy? What are you talking about? Oh shit, dude, I'm fucking dumb.
Oh shit, dude, I'm fucking dumb.
Damn, I just crashed out for nothing. Holy
Damn, I just crashed out for nothing.
fuck.
And then he ends the stream. Now, he had to apologize specifically to Caleb Hammer because, as we just heard, he said some crazy things because of an address mix-up. Who's ready for the cope? And he's going to apologize kind of like Eric Cartman apologizes, right? You know, if you're apologizing, also, fellas, drinking game, okay? Now, this is from Hassan Piker. Unproductive. You get to drink on productive and unproductive, okay? 2-minute piss. I'm going to let this play.
Well, happy 2026 to me. Yeah, man. So I kind of woke up to this post that it looks like the entirety of my incredibly pathetic and embarrassing crash out. I mean, let's just be absolutely real from my stream yesterday. And I kind of want to address it. You know, there's 3 big things I'm not happy with myself with. And I'm going to go in like, you know, least severe to most severe. Just to get it out there. Mostly an apology to Caleb Hammer. This is what I've already talked to him privately, but I'm pretty sure he hadn't seen this yet. And this is horrible. Like, I'm very upset with myself now. It's just a nasty person. What a piece of shit I am. So I wanted to talk about that and kind of just clear it out and get it out there and say my piece. And yeah, so move on. I mean, what else are we going to do? So I had a stream yesterday. You know, I had a stream where I was reacting to Nick Shirley's newest video. Absolute banger from Shirley. Thank you so much, King. Keep it real, King. You know what I mean? But okay, I got to stop being stupid. And in the stream, I had, like I said, a pathetic, embarrassing crash out. I went off on something that I was super wrong about too. And when I realized it, I said something along the lines of like, you know, oh, I just crashed out for nothing and I turned the stream off and I put it on private. Obviously, let's be real, hoping that people wouldn't see it. It's an embarrassing moment, but they have.
He hoped that nobody would see it, and it's an embarrassing moment. Wasn't he saying something about weak men, you know? And he realized, wow, I just burned a bridge with Caleb Hammer. And when I say he burned a bridge, he said, I'm going to have to burn the bridge with Caleb Hammer over him thinking racism is a thing. I'm telling you, man, racism does destroy families because it makes men weak. Samar Libjarkarasan, 1,500 distant dollars. I can say we are happy because it's a high trust society, because it's pure from Iceland. Absolutely. Make sure you download the app so you don't have sex with your own cousin. Honestly, it's that tightly knit, you know. Good app. You know, you don't want to become third world, right? Like Somalians. You don't want light bulb heads, Icelandic light bulb heads, because you're an insular community. But yeah, it's very defined culture. Food's a little rough in Iceland, but it's because of where you live, you know. Edward Snowman, 1984. Thank you very much. What do you call a Federation flagship with no Klingon bridge officer? Do you think I'm some fucking nerd, dude? Do you think I'm cool? Okay. I don't know what this Klingon bridge officer stuff is. Okay. You're gonna ask me a question like I'm capable of answering that? The hubris on you. You're lucky I can read it. Waffle, baby cheeks, honey booger, lovey lumps, 1488. Thank you very much. Know how to scare an electrician? Show them a broom. You have to be 78 years old, and I appreciate that.
And you know, that's just kind of the way that things work on the internet. It's been a while since I've been relevant enough to capture some of my streams. If I want to be more mainstream, I got to be more productive and intelligent about the way that I
Productive, drink. If I want to be more productive, if I'm getting more mainstream, he's almost at 100,000 subs on YouTube. And the mask fell off.
express myself. This is pretty big, like, hey, get your shit together. It almost feels selfish to be able to find a productive message out of this. Like, hey, you have to keep your shit together. But, anyway, it is what it is. So let me go through the 3 things, like what I'm ashamed of myself for, again, and least severe to most.
Revolutionary for $2. I'm cool, said the cool guy. Fair point. I concede.
Severe, and really just kind of explain myself as why I had this problem, because I've been thinking about it obviously like all night. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Even if this didn't come out, I'm still like, what is wrong with me? Like, how did I do what I did? Let me just kind of express what I've been thinking about. Tier 1 is just the crash out in general. Even if I was in the right, I'm 35 years old, dude. What is wrong with me? I'm gonna have a fucking meltdown on a stream.
It's because he has that much hatred inside of him. So I've thought of this before, like with cluster B personality disorders. There's histrionic, narcissistic, borderline, and antisocial, I think. Each one of those is like a different wing of leftists. And so he's more so in the narcissistic because he's not going out. The antisocial personality disorder, that's your protesters in the street, okay? But the thing is, they all hang on to this hate, and it manifests in different ways. So if he was more of the antisocial, he'd be on the street. You heard the hate in the man's heart, okay? But his love for the Somalians, the electricians, the children, completely inverse. It's queer, so to speak.
That's just pathetic. That is an unproductive expression of anger.
Unproductive, drink.
It's just stupid. It's just stupid. I need to grow up and just get my shit together. It's in general, everybody has their moments of anger, but like I really should be better than this. Apparently I'm not, because it's just fucking pathetic. So I'm already I'm not happy about that in general. That's not how I really want to communicate myself as a content creator. I'd like to be somebody that's a little more intelligent. Maybe I'm just smart enough, but just dumb enough to think I'm somebody that could be known for being intelligent. I don't know. I don't know, man. This kind of communicates that. But the crashing out in general is just not how I want to communicate myself. I'd like to think that I have a little bit more to offer than just fucking unintelligent screaming and rambling. He's like a fucking moron. So I guess we'll see what the rest of this year, how that goes. But I do think that I have a little more to offer, and in general, it's not the way that I want to, communicate myself onto the internet. I think that like there's more productive ways that I can express myself and counteract things that I disagree with. Like, of course, the Nick Shirley video. And I simply didn't do that, and that was just me yelling and having like a fucking meltdown, and that was childish in and of itself. Again, regardless of whether I'm right or wrong.
Well, you already had it in your head that he's a white supremacist. You heard yourself say that, right? You already thought he's a white supremacist and he's racist. This is your epistemology. This is how you know what you know. By the way, when you know something, that doesn't mean that it's true. When you know something, it's what you perceive to be true. It's what knowing something is. And then knowledge and wisdom is something that we believe to be absolutely true.
Well, guess what? I was like super wrong. This is embarrassing. It is what it is, but I was super wrong. There was a moment in Nick Shirley's video where he went to, I think it was like 607 Cedar, but it said South Cedar. And I'm like, Nick, you're not at the right place, right? And I looked it up on
Oh, yeah. He was just like, Nick, you're not at the right place. That's what he was like. Don't you love their retelling of history? I was just like, you might have made a little mistake. Yeah, dude, that's what you were like.
I looked it up and I found it on MapQuest. I'm just going to show you because it's so fucking embarrassing. For me, it's like I've done that before where I've like forgot to put like the north in and I go to a completely different place. And so I was like, wait a minute, I'm an idiot. But let me just show you. So yeah, I got everything on the screen now. So this is where Nick Shirley was, 607 Cedar Avenue. As you can see, I also had this MapQuest pulled up, and it's of the Oromo Resource Center of Minneapolis, which has been closed for a while now, or rather it shut down this location and they moved. So anyway, I'm looking at the difference between this map and Google Maps, and I'm like, wow, this looks really different. I don't know if you guys know it. It's not. It just looks different. So basically, I allowed myself to get tricked by something a third grader would get tricked by, which is, wow, see, this is different from this. It's not. It's simply
weak men, indeed.
Not. It's simply not different. So I thought it was. Again, to their credit, I guess this could be fraud. It seems like there used to be a resource center here, and it looks like they had originally filed to that resource center. It inevitably shut down and moved, and they just had not updated their location, or it could be fraud. I don't know. We're at this point. Like you can see down here after Shirley's video, it looks like they changed their address to something else, right? So, it could be just a simple clerical error. It could be fraud. I don't know. But either way, it's not really what it's about, is it? It's about me being a fucking idiot and being like, wait, he's at the wrong place because the maps look different. It's just different maps. Like, well, who would have thought that different maps would look different, right? And so I had this whole like, oh, he's in the wrong place. So he's being dishonest, blah, 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 blah. Very unproductive. Because I have some valid criticism, of Nick Shirley, like, for instance, why didn't he just call the numbers on the sign to see if he could get little Shirley in to the daycare? We didn't see that in his video. It feels intentional. Why didn't he show up when the daycares were open?
Oh, because they answered the phone. Yeah, like he didn't try calling. We showed on stream that somebody called and it went to Tim Wallace's office. Dude, you're in a bubble, boy. Okay. Oh my God, dude. Why didn't he call? Well, you should think to yourself, let me make sure he didn't call. But no. His heuristic wouldn't allow him to do that.
Opening to see if kids were going in there. It kind of feels intentional. That would be either way. Like, that's not really the point of this video. This point of this video is that I mostly to put an apology to Caleb Hammer.
He has to remind himself to apologize. He's rambling. Oh, he's rambling.
But there are like a lot of different things I have an issue with, and obviously this. I look so fun. I look so funny here. I look so good. It makes me look like a fucking moron. Let's be real. I scrolled through this video. I didn't notice there's something in here at some point that just says PapaGut's fat and dumb or something. PapaGut is an idiot, and it's true. I am an idiot. I mean, what else can I say? I got nothing. Yeah, I'm fucking pathetic. So that's that part. That's embarrassing. Like, I got something so wrong in the crash out. But frankly, I'm not even trying to be. I don't really I care about those things. But the reason I really feel like I want,
like, he had the anger of like domestic violence dispute, right? He had the anger of that, and then you can imagine after he held a hand to his wife, afterwards, this is how he's apologizing. Psychotic.
I want to talk about this is because I say some really nasty stuff about a friend of mine. And I've been kind of thinking, like, why would I do that? Caleb is like a legitimate friend of mine. We've been friends for like a while, and he reached out to me. He saw like a video of mine that he appreciated, and he reached out to me, and we've been chatting here and there ever since. And he's come on and like talked to me from my platform, and I've gone on to his live platform when I disagreed with something. I mean, he's been nothing but.
And I disagree with something. That's him trying to coach him to go further and further left.
He's been like nothing but like a nice guy. Dude, that's actually thinking about it. I'm actually thinking it's really shitty. Like, what an asshole. I'm actually really upset about it. He's been nothing but a good guy. Like, even when we disagree, and last time we had a disagreement over like, oh, I felt like he was going a little too far right. Okay. So I made a video about it and he watched it. And he's like, hey, you want to come on the show and talk about it? And it's like, I allowed myself to fucking blow up. Like, how unreasonable.
Cause you are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing.
Well, what kind of a person? Why would you even bother watching me as a content creator if I do that? And I've been trying to think, like, why? Why did I do that? Like, why would I allow myself to be so fucking pathetic? I'm not 20 anymore. Back then, being emotional and shooting from the cuff is, almost like, oh yeah, you're 20, you're dumb. I'm 35. Why would I do that?
You can be emotional and you can shoot from the cuff once you have a firm epistemology. I mean, we'll see Andrew Wilson do it. Man can back up what he's talking about. Got wisdom, some universal knowledge of what he's talking about. Stand-up comedians will do crowd work and whatnot. This improvisation. You're just not the guy for it, which is fine. Just know your place. Just be a talking head, fat fuck.
So I've been thinking about it. Talking to my wife about it. It's not exactly the easiest thing in the world to be aware of yourself to that degree of like, why exactly am I engaging in such shitty behavior? And I've a little soul searching. And so in general, like, I'm generally frustrated. And I think the frustration is valid, but the disproportionate expression of that frustration and anger is.
Fellas, what's the frustration? What's the real reason? The deep soul searching. Are we ready?
Disgusting. But like, I'm frustrated with this general administration.
TDS with this general administration, and there it is. The definition. I mean, people say to go touch grass, and this got him that mad. He's just getting himself so mad. Everyone else is hateful. They hate. No, man, that's you. Chill, buddy. Chill, okay? He has a lot riding on this, but he's dug himself into a hole, and now he is what, fellas? Audience captured. Now he has to do this. This is what he's doing full time. His channel's doing really well. He's getting over 1 million views a month. He's doing well. But the mask slipped. This isn't who he is.
I know there's a lot of people who wouldn't resonate with that message. They wouldn't be like, oh, that makes sense, especially people on Twitter. But for me, it's been very frustrating since he got elected. When he got elected when Trump specifically we're talking about, when he got elected the first time, I was like, okay, let's see how this goes. And it didn't seem to be super productive. We ended up voting him out in the midterms.
Productive, drink.
And this time around, it's been like more frustrating. There's a lot of things that have been very frustrating. The most recent stuff, like the constant threat of our allies. Some unnecessary tariffs, for instance, with Canada. And I'm going to over-explain just so that you know where.
Now he's talking about tariffs, and that's why he. Oh God. Dude, just don't say anything. Just don't address it. The tariffs. Sorry, man. I was really mad about the tariffs, so I said I don't want to really talk to you ever again. I have to burn a bridge with you and that you're weak and pathetic. You know how I get about tariffs.
Where I'm coming from for people who don't get it. And I know the kind of thing was like last year, but there's been so many controversies that just rolling by. It all feels like a distraction for the Epstein files that he promised to release, and he never really released them. And it seems like there's controversy after controversy every single.
Yeah, guess who else is criticizing Trump for not releasing the Epstein files? People on the right wing, especially when they drew so much attention to it and then acted like it was a Democrat conspiracy theory. Absolutely. But what? In comparison to who? The Democrats? There is nothing that the right can do that is even remotely as crazy as the Democrats. And here's the thing. I mean, the Epstein files, I don't even know why they drew so much attention to it. Like, yeah, there's going to be a massive deep state, right? I wonder what the deep state means. Yeah, I mean, there's people on the right that somehow are still deluding themselves, but I mean, I think for the most part on the right, they're like, yeah, that was a really bad move. What are we going to do about it? Give you guys power? People like you?
Time, hey, what's going on with that? All of a sudden there's a new controversy, but him blaming Ukraine for starting the war, him going after Greenland, him tariffing a bunch of countries like Canada, for instance, that if you look at the numbers, they actually spend more on American goods per person, they're a smaller country, than we do on Canadian goods. And it's like we're going after all these partners and these allies, and we're destroying those. Where ICE is fucking crazy, violating people's due process.
Don't worry, we're gonna come back to why he burned the bridge with Caleb Hammer and now has to apologize to him after calling him a weak, pathetic man.
I was actually watching like a George W. Bush Sr. Speech about illegal immigration, and I totally agree with the way I guess the Republicans used to feel, which is like, hey, illegal immigration is a problem. We have to deal with it, but we have to deal with it with some, I guess, nuance and decorum, because these are still people who are coming here to do jobs.
As with any other lefty, he has a cursory knowledge of many things.
We have a dependency on them because they do jobs that Americans don't want to do. And we need to be delicate and not dehumanize them. But the Trump administration has been very much dehumanizing, illegal immigrants. They're people. So, I can respect somebody trying to do their best to provide for their family.
Yeah, so he dehumanized Caleb Hammer. Okay, we're waiting on that apology, buddy.
And that's frustrating. That's very frustrating for me, especially. And so just a lot of shit going on. There's been a lot of shit, the whole situation where Mark Kelly told different law enforcement agents that they don't have to listen to illegal orders, and the Trump administration threatening to take away his veteran status. Stuff like that's a violation of freedom of speech. That's an attempt to go after somebody.
What about when the left was transing kids? Where's that rank on things that bother you? What about opening the border to millions of illegal immigrants for votes and then allowing them to steal billions of dollars? That rank anywhere on things that really, have a hair across your ass? No? Okay. Odd.
Freedom of speech. A lot of things have been working me up, and I think it's valid that I'm frustrated. And I think that for the most part, I've been expressing that frustration productively. Except this time, and that's how it works, isn't it? It's like, you got a little bit of an anger problem, a little bit, I guess, an understanding. I mean, I thought I had it under control. I guess I mostly did, but it's where you have like a valid thing to be upset about, and then you just let it explode and you express it unproductively. And specifically in Caleb's case, because I really have been thinking about it. I've been seeing a couple of clips here and there of a few things, mostly his clips, like it's what he's putting out there, or a little bit of his coverage. And, obviously have audience members like, oh, PapaGut, what's going on, Caleb, blah, 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 blah. And I remember even saying the other day, I was like, yeah, I think I'll talk to him when I feel like it's more of a productive time. Just really putting it off, avoiding talking about it. What I really should have done was just like, oh, you know what, if I have a disagreement, or if I think I have a disagreement, just DM him. Or not DM, excuse me. Let me just react to something on my stream.
Yeah, so the issue with racism brain is you can't prove you're not racist, so it makes you neurotic. Oh, who? What people in a disproportionate amount of power are the most neurotic people in the world? I wonder where the left gets this from. It's neurosis, where you can't know if someone's racist or not. So so then you separate racism, but that feeling and that energy is still there of like, there might be something. I had to find out. I got to ask him. I got to interrogate him. Blah, blah, blah.
That's what I do for a living. I could just react. I'd be like, oh, hey, this is wrong. Hey, oh, this is wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about the way that I look at his content. Yeah, I don't know because I didn't just do that, but I've been like avoiding it. And I think part of it's because he's a friend and I don't want to criticize him maybe in some instances, which is something that's like embarrassing to admit as well. Because
doesn't want to criticize him in certain instances. Well, oh, Papa. Ad hominem is inadequate for what you said to him. That guy is the reason, exemplifies weak men. Okay, the man that is helping people with their finances, no matter how much it hurts their feelings. Okay, the complete mischaracterization of him, without even hearing what he had to say for more than 5 seconds. This is like a very Eric Cartman, apology. I said some things, you said some things,
And I think part of it's like, okay, I think there can be a more productive moment, or maybe
Drake.
I want to have like a more perfect moment, but I'm not doing like my due diligence. I'm not even fully, I didn't fully watch his coverage of certain things that I'm frustrated about. And I kind of just put it off instead of just like, okay, I'm going to watch this.
Yeah, that's like one of the main complaints about the left is you don't even fully watch it. You see a clip and you get mad. Yeah, you're effeminate. You're female. Your wife is a lesbian.
Even if it's offline, let me watch this. Let me see what it is. Take it. I just didn't, I avoided it for, one reason or the other. Part of me like, oh, I don't want to harass him because we already just talked live somewhat recently. Like it was maybe a month ago, but either way, for different reasons, I decided not to. And of course, I guess I'm going to say something regardless of how I say it. So instead of a productive like, oh, I'm going to watch this and do something, and he watches my content, so he may have watched it. I mean, there's a good chance he would have watched it and be like, oh, I see where you're coming from, even if we disagree. So that I just bottled it up, and then this was my moment of explosion. I'm in the middle of the stream. I'm seeing this Nick Shirley thing. Someone's like,
you see, this is why people leave the left. This is why. And then you berate them for being like, oh, so I just can't say whatever I want to you. And then you're doing this apologizing. Like, this is like a toxic girlfriend. This is a toxic friend that will have a transgression. An apology without a change of behavior is manipulation. This is why apologies don't matter. It's, do you understand? No one gives a shit about a sorry in 2026. 750 of something. Fun fact about Icelandic people really don't like the tourists. That's, I would assume so. And non-Icelandic people. And the app is a myth. I'm pretty sure I read a clickbait article that it was true. So, who am I really going to believe? The guy that lives there or a fever dream of a clickbait article? Kind of tough. Stackademic Slagent for $2. Thank you. I called him Asian. Why would I do that? That's like, who thinks Asian when they see Caleb Hammer? Blue Lick, $2, thank you. Only slaves would gauge their worth by productivity, right? There's nothing, it's GDP, man. There's nothing beyond that. Last remembrance, sir, $5, thank you. It boggles my mind that the far left are now so fixated on Epstein files, especially now Orange Man is president now. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Well, it's the same thing with ICE, which was around when the deporter-in-chief, Obama, right? And then they're going to say, well, was he doing this? And it's like, you didn't have cameras on him. We didn't see it, so it didn't have it. You have the object permanence of a child, of a baby. JLM Knight, $5, thank you. Is this a struggle session? A struggle just to say sorry without excuses? You have to realize, when we use these old war terms, it's a psychological war now. It has been a psychological war for generations. Psychological war is way quicker, way easier, way less blood spilled, and more subversive. And there's a certain roller coaster nose demographic that really enjoys the subversive stuff, which I try to incorporate into what I do because that seems to work. Be honest with my friends and lie to my enemies. That's what I'm going to be doing. Waffle, $5. Thank you, buddy. They scream about Trump being a PDF file because of Epstein, but then cry when illegal PDFs get deported and arrested. Well, that's the thing. And this is the thing with centrism, okay? The left is like being a PDF file. Centrists want to go, we'll just do it a little bit. No. No. You can't even touch kids a little bit. Centrists, sorry. You have to fully stop doing it. And you're lucky that we let you around, okay? You can't do it a little bit. You can't do it a teeny tiny little bit. You have to do it not at all. It's like heroin. I'll do heroin a little bit. No. You have to completely cut it off and go right wing. I'm telling you. And I'll have examples of it. I would love to stop making content about this, to live in the world that I want to live in. But I can make content about this all the time. And I'm so glad that people are on board with targeting these fucking centrists, right? Because obviously cutting off kids' wieners, yeah, congratulations, you shouldn't do that, right? But the centrists are like, yeah, but nationalism is still, be careful. It's like James Lindsay, be weary of going to the right wing, That's really the bottleneck that's killing us right now. Point curation, $2. Thank you very much. Thanks for speaking your mind. Keep it up. I would do it with or without you saying that, but I'm going to do it much more with you saying that, so I appreciate that. Big Daddy Dongus Cock gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much, my dude Arena. What do I have? We have a lot of stuff. It's been a lot of streams, okay? There's some stuff to dig through. Make sure you dig through the catalog. Actually, a perk you have of the memberships. I have moved the members only. So if I make an ad-free stream members only, you can't watch it in the background, right? Which is dumb. So I've made an unlisted playlist for the Hard R fellers. So after this stream is done, I'm going to send the playlist to you guys. So then you can watch it's a whole playlist of ad-free. They're unlisted, so at some point someone's probably going to share it and it's going to get out, which is fine. It's whatever, but I just want you guys to be able to watch it in the background with no ads. It's so. Am I wrong in saying that? The members only videos, does it let you play that in the background? I'm pretty sure a lot of people were telling me it doesn't. Cool, Vic. $5, bro. As soon as the stream is over, I'm watching what he just released with Gavin McInnes and Not So Erudite. Oh, I didn't even know it was there. I might cover it. I might cover it my damn self. So I'm immediately watching that when the stream is over. That looks juicy. This dude is pathetic. He's productively unproductive. Drink. Keep up the good work, brother. Man, me and Cool Vic might do something at some point. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to collaborate with people. I just know that we have good crossover and good vibes and share an audience. And Cool Vic, go subscribe to Cool Vic because he contacted me personally to let me know that he tried to raid my stream and I didn't have it active. The man literally took time out of his day to send me instructions on how to turn raids on so he could send me viewers. So follow that man. That dude is down for the cause, okay? I believe he's Christian, non-denominational. So Ortho Bros, Protestants, Catholics, the man might be up for grabs, okay? Talk to him. What was I doing? Oh, yes, this pathetic apology.
Like, oh, did you see what Caleb had to say about it? I turn it on, I see like very little bit, and I fucking go off and just disgusting, shameful. Especially because again, it's a friend of mine. Like, what the hell's the matter with me? And it's like I just went off, man. Very unproductively, very unintelligently, very weak. I say some really nasty things. Man. Like, what a piece of shit. I'm just like, because I'm thinking about it. I'm not going to rewatch myself saying this stuff.
He's not going to rewatch himself saying this stuff. This is why apologies don't matter. Fellas, how many times have you encountered a person that's particularly toxic that you may have cared for? Friendship, relationship, family member. And the apology over and over again. What are they sorry about? I don't know. Let's just move past it. I'm not even going to watch what I said. You don't have to apologize. You have to go, this is what I said. This is why I understand what I said crossed the line. And I understand why I shouldn't have said that and why I should never say that again. And I understand why in the future, this is how I should handle that situation. Do you see how that's more meaningful than just saying you're sorry and I don't even know what I said, but I'm sorry? Fuck your fucking apologies in 2026. New member. Thank you, buddy. I think you're going to enjoy it. Please comb through the catalog.
Embarrassing. But I'm thinking like, what did I say? And I'm like, little things. I was like, holy fuck, I said this. Damn. Like, what kind of a person says that? It's like a friend. It's like, holy fuck. It was like so black and white, in that moment. Like, I was so intense and I felt so like justified, but I wasn't at all.
See, a lot of I, me. If you're the one apologizing, you don't want to make I statements. I feel bad. He's still making it about himself. He's a narc. He doesn't have an actual soul. He's a demon. He's a husk.
I felt that way. I let myself get to a point where I felt justified in being a nasty person. And I just like I said before, I go, if Caleb, I've already like talked to Caleb and like a little apology in private, but like it's not, he hasn't seen the full video, and now he might have, and it's like, damn, like even if we're friends from moving forward, like there's
damn. So how are you gonna apologize to him when he saw what you said about him and you don't remember it? Husk.
You know, I mean, I definitely stressed the relationship. Like, what a piece of fucking shit. You know, I'm a grown fucking man. And, you know, Caleb even says, like, oh, I appreciate your
you're
take.
still a
And the way you
little
talk about stuff. I
boy.
was like, what the fuck? How did I do this, though? This is crazy. This is like, I don't know. Sorry. I'm just fucking like, I don't know. As I'm recording it, I'm like, it's setting in more. You know, I've been kind of like mentally and emotionally putting it off. I've been thinking about it. But like now that I'm saying it out loud, it's like, oh,
I've been putting it off and I've been thinking about it. And me. That's not an apology. Apologies are already useless, okay? But if you're going to apologize, at least do it well.
Jesus fuck, man. So more than anything else, you know, this is more of an apology to Caleb. And like I said, I apologize privately, but now everything's public. So like a public apology is obviously warranted. That's what I care about the most. Like, again, like I had a meltdown. That wasn't good. I fucking got something wrong. That's fucking stupid. But I put stress on a friendship with somebody who's been like really nice to me and who's like sat down with me and given me advice. And yeah, dude, like what the fuck's wrong with me? What a piece of dog shit.
I'm dumb.
So,
I'm bad.
You know, I'm gonna upload this video on YouTube and Twitter, and I'm gonna say, hey, like Caleb, take a look, and because I'm gonna be honest, because I gotta say this now, I'm just like embarrassed of myself as well. Like I don't even know if I could talk to Caleb for a while for myself because I'm so embarrassed. I'm like, what did I do?
Well, notice how he didn't address him talking about. So here's what you would want to say. Like, yeah, I had concerns. I had things that I really disagreed with that I held on to privately, and then I projected them. And I got really frustrated when I never just talked to him in the first place. And, you know, in this political climate, you know, I make content all the time. And I got content brained, and I was thinking of content instead of just having a human conversation with him. Fellas, how would that have gone? As opposed to this dog shit apology, and it would have been a minute and sweep it under the rug, and then we're good to go. And that's it. And then it's up to Caleb to decide how he feels about it. This shit is just content for me. This ain't even an apology.
And you know, it's like, damn. And then imagine Caleb's like, yeah, man, like it was fucked up, but I, you know, it is what it is. You know, we're still friends. Like that's so shitty. Like because that's probably somewhat around what he'll, you know. And it's like, fuck, like this guy's gonna be nice to me after I was such an abysmal piece of dog shit, such a rude, nasty fuck. God damn, you know, like I'm supposed to be better than that. Obviously, I'm not. Yeah. You know, I mean, all I can really say is, I'm sorry. It's fucked up, man. Like, holy shit, that's such a piece of shit.
Means
I'm
nothing.
sorry. At this point, I'm just kind of talking to almost vent, but it's supposed to be a short and sweet as possible.
Notice how he's venting, right? Because of what he went through, for what he did. Notice these things, fellas, in your interpersonal relationships when someone is trying to show remorse. This is how we exhibit discernment.
Possible video. I think we're at like 15 minutes now. So, you know, I guess everyone watching that saw the crash out, you know, I'm ashamed of myself. Sorry to you guys, but again, more than anything else, sorry to Caleb and the crew, really. And if this is the end of the friendship,
That's nice, pig. Shut your mouth. Anyway, let's look at some of the comments. You are too lost in the sauce, my brother. Yeah. We got some, you know, troll comments. Papa, delete this vid. After watching this video, yikes. To be honest, I wouldn't blame Caleb for not wanting to be friends with you anymore. The stuff you said about him, I feel like you just can't take back. And those things weren't addressed. Those things would have to address for what, fellas? Redemption to occur. Was this satisfactory for redemption? I don't think it was. And I've explained how. It's not like I'm setting traps over here. I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. You know, it's one thing to just call someone dumb. I noticed that the left and liberals do this a lot. Right-wing content creators do this sometimes where they just call something dumb or stupid. It's like, okay, well, like, what's the prescription of what should be done differently, right? You hate Caleb and it's obvious. Just watch your crash it on LSF. Oof. Maybe just step away from politics. This is how often does this happen with lefty content creators? Just step away from politics. They're not responsible enough to handle the politics. Oh my, wow. I watched the clip and PapaGut said the R word, which he is very against. The R word. That's how you know it was bad. You know, man, I'm 35. I said the R word. The R word, dude. Another apology video that is 90% fake and performative, self-deprecation, 5% of what some might see as an actual apology and 5%, but I was kind of right. Yeah, this is so pathetic. Terrific. So, fellas, that's the leftist, okay? That is, in fact, the leftist. However, we are now going to move on to the centrist, okay? Now, this is my ritualistic 5-minute smoke break, okay? I'll be back in 5 minutes. I will give you a precursor, something to chew on, my very brief absence, of PF Jung, centrist. And so the leftist is really easy to shit on, right? Now, I'm going to be curious to hear your feedback on the centrist, because it's not as open and brazen, and he actually does say some very based things. However, I will be right back. So, fellas, and my hard R fellas that have joined the channel, PF Jung, or Paul, used a clip from my last video in such an incredibly dishonest way that I gotta tell you, this is why you have to be right-wing. Let me show you how one of the most prominent thought leaders of enlightened centrism decided to interpret my criticism of him. Let me know if this feels like how the left handles criticism, okay?
And remember, because I said it's degenerate for Nazis to celebrate mass shootings, I'm punching right, which must mean...
Do you see how the enlightened centrist functions as controlled opposition? This is why you have to be right-wing. This is why punching right amidst so much leftist violence, inevitably making you sound like an idiot. It's an indefensible position. It always comes down to what the right says versus what the left does.
Look, I'm not gay, but I definitely enjoy taking it from all sides.
Paul, no one is surprised. Anyways, my video criticizing Paul had nothing to do with the Nazis celebrating a mass shooting. I don't even know who this guy is. Apparently he talks to children online with a gun in his hand and tries to radicalize them toward violence. Now, did Paul technically say I support this man? No, he technically didn't say that. However, his edit would suggest that I called him controlled opposition for disavowing an avowed Nazi celebrating a mass shooting that he may have caused. Before we continue, I feel as though it's important for me to show you the clip in context and my criticism of enlightened centrists like Paul.
It's like if you've ever gone to a football game or any sports game and a penalty is thrown and they're reviewing the penalty on the screen, it's kind of close. Isn't it crazy how the team that the penalty's against almost unanimously agrees that it's not a penalty? And the team that the penalty is benefiting, they almost all agree it's obviously it's almost like, that's self-evident and obvious.
Sure, but what are the teams and what are the penalties? Let's start with Team Demon and see what their penalties are.
I mean, part of it is being like a white woman that I'm privileged and I have a lot of privilege. So I feel like white tears are not always something that's helpful or necessary when Black and brown people have been experiencing this.
All right, so Team Demon has white hatred followed by Maoist struggle session.
Oh, well, let's do this too. Why not? While we're here. This is also making it worse because Jacob Fry is the most pathetic dweeb that ever lived. Ladies and gentlemen, remember the Maoist struggle sessions we didn't have video of. We have them now. Let's watch.
Followed by police chief breaking down into tears, not for the victims of gang violence, but for the thought that people might be more racist.
This is the police chief in Portland who is talking about some people who were shot in a recent raid.
It saddens me.
And so Team Demon is squaring off against Team Christian.
He sounds like a child.
Nick Shirley, who sounds dumb and like a child, and Matt Walsh, who tells the truth in a way that the enlightened centrist doesn't view as very Christian.
Here's Matt Walsh, pinnacle of the Christian right, definitely not Hollywooding. Remember, the populist right hates Hollywood, and this guy is for sure not LARPing as a Christian. This lesbian agitator gave her life to protect 68 IQ Somali scammers who couldn't give less of a shit about her, the most disgraceful and humiliating end a person could possibly meet. That's a little fucking psychopathic, I would say, kind of anti-Christian.
Odd how the enlightened centrist is calling a penalty for psychopathy on Team Christian and never gave that penalty to Team Demon. Curious. This is why you have to be right-wing. This is why punching right amidst so much leftist violence, inevitably making you sound like an idiot. It's an indefensible position. It always comes down to what the right says versus what the left does. Interesting. So the enlightened centrist views this as me supporting this guy who has a gun, who is sig-heiling and encouraging other people's children to commit violent acts against specific demographics. Well, let's leave no stone unturned. Let me find out who this guy is, and I can tell you what I believe is the right-wing position on this man.
Last week, right here on News Channel 5 at 6, our exclusive investigation revealed how a prominent neo-Nazi was using video chat rooms to target unsuspecting young people.
Tonight, our chief investigative reporter, Phil Williams, sits down with a counselor to talk about the need to better protect our kids.
I had a very visceral reaction to it.
If you've had trouble processing how a neo-Nazi could target innocent children online, Lauren Martin wants you to know you're not alone.
It's like that thing of I was shocked, but also not shocked because anything is possible. And my brain just immediately went to, how is this able to continue?
White power! Oh my God, how are you? Hi.
Why are you so loud?
I'm sorry.
On one hand, the licensed counselor gets why some kids are attracted to John Manadio's shtick when they encounter him in their video chat rooms.
He's a character.
Now, Paul, do you think a vast majority of the right wing condones this behavior? Are there people on the right wing that find it funny? Absolutely. Do those same people consider it to be a moral prescription of how to behave? Sure, many right-wingers may agree with a lot of his criticisms of certain demographics, but do you think the political party with strong... Here we go with the enlightened centrist fellas. The bottleneck. You have the left trying to destroy the house that the right built. The right goes, we need to continue building this house. The enlightened centrist goes, yeah, but what if we just build a bike? See, I have a different idea. Well, we really need to build the house. So I'm going to work on building the house, and it's not. The left wing has collectivism, and the right wing has cohesion. There's actually a lot of room for right-wing thought. And what am I going to show you first from PF Jung? Actually, call an audible here. Here's what we're going to do. Here's why he frustrates me. Now, he made a video, a really good video. Let me get you on his side first, okay? Let me show you how he really understands the right wing. And he's contriving a centrist path, okay? Oh, here he is talking to counterpoints, you know. Solid out with it. Yeah, a little conversation with Pisco, a little debate there. Everyone hates Pisco. I don't know what the point of that content is. No one likes it. It is going to be, here it is.
Further removed from, if you are some...
So, we are witnessing the collapse of a secular religion. So he fully understands the right-wing position and how dire it is. Let me have him explain it to you. And this is why I find this way
Someone
more
who seeks to
frustrating.
understand, predict, and perhaps even influence the trajectory of modern politics, you have to have an understanding of a concept known as the post-war consensus.
You called out the problem of the post-World War II consensus. What we got wrong.
Western civilization is one thing before the two world wars and the Holocaust, and it's something quite different after.
All right, terms like the post-war consensus, these are terms that are getting thrown around a lot more now. And the reason why they're getting thrown around is because this is more or less what the Western civilization has operated under. This has been kind of the international order that has governed our behavior for about 80 years.
The post-war consensus is one way to describe the secular religion that Western morality is built upon. Every society is based on a framework that tells people what behaviors are good and what behaviors are bad. Those behaviors are then personified and represented in a culture's mythology. In Christianity, Jesus is the ultimate good and Satan is the ultimate evil. But in the secular West, we have a modified framework. We don't necessarily have a single person that represents the ultimate good, but we do have someone who represents the ultimate evil. A core aspect.
That is a great way of phrasing that. Can we all agree? This is why we need Christianity, Jesus Christ, God. Because without that, look at what happens. Excellent.
Aspect of our education in childhood is learning about World War II and the Holocaust and watching various movies about them. And almost every villain in popular media is either literally a Nazi or something approximating them. Coleman Hughes just made a video about Nick Fuentes where he referenced a Nazi-like character from Succession.
Podcast Nick will roll his eyes at the accusation that he's a Nazi. Like the character Mark Ravenhead from Succession, he'll make you seem ridiculous for even asking the question.
Have you ever read Mein Kampf? Yeah, a couple times, I guess. A couple times. Are there Easter eggs in there you didn't get the first time? Look, I'm interested in that period.
Well, hold on a second here. Someone said, I don't think Handsome Truth talking to kids online is any more dangerous than the average leftist school teacher. He has a gun, and he acted like he offed himself, and the kids are like 10. You shouldn't be talking to other people's 10-year-olds on the internet. I understand that there's indoctrination in schools and whatnot, okay? And I would say the Gypsy Crusader, I'm kind of fine with that, the stuff that he does, right? This guy is literally advocating for them to enact violence. I mean, if you have a kid that's 10, he's online, some guy's talking to him, telling him what to, I don't know, man. Like that, just from a, I don't know. I can't morally or ethically justify that when he starts incorporating like direct acts of violence and promoting it.
History time, okay. I skimmed it. Yeah, thank you.
This cultural programming serves as a religious and moral system that unconsciously shapes our perceptions and ideas. If I showed a devout Muslim an offensive picture of the Prophet Muhammad, they would exhibit a negative physiological response before their mind can even fully process what they're seeing. And if I walked down the streets of New York City with a shaved head and a swastika armband, the people around me would exhibit the exact same kind of...
Right. And how did that happen? Commie, moo, commie. That's how that happened. And how is that the popular stance all throughout the West? Commie, moo, commie. And this is why the right wing focuses on moo, commie.
Negative physiological response. Tom Holland, a Christian scholar who even hardcore atheists like Sam Harris respect, makes this point in his book, Dominion.
I'm a huge fan of your work. I am working my way through Dominion, which is fantastic.
And one of the reasons I think why institutional Christianity fades in the wake of the Second World War is that, in a sense, fascism, Nazism gives us an alternative myth, but it's still a very Christian one. The fact that Hitler has replaced Satan and Auschwitz has replaced hell doesn't alter the fact that we understand Nazism to be the quintessence of evil for deeply, deeply Christian reasons.
The key thing to understand is that the post-war consensus is collapsing.
Why are we still so hung up on saying what is or isn't anti-Semitic?
You should notice that this video did really well, 143,000 views. And why is that? Because he's talking about the truth. His other videos do not get that. Maybe like 10,000, 5,000, 2,000 here and there. This resonated because this is something that needs to be discussed, that is not discussed, and he discusses it perfectly.
I take a position that I don't care.
This is largely due to a fundamental flaw that exists in all moral systems, something I call signal creep. Signal creep is when anything we regard as a...
This is where it gets kind of lefty. It's what I call signal creep. And if I come up with something as a centrist, then it must happen. See how I'm getting animated? Now I'm mad. I came up with signal creep. This is like James Lindsay coming up with a fucking idea, centrist. And it must exist on both sides somewhat equally is what drives me crazy.
Moral gets tainted by whatever archetype of evil that moral system is anchored upon.
And what happens is that the things that are forbidden about the Nazis, they increase. At first, it's strict Nazi imagery, right? You can't bring that up. You can't show it. You can't identify with it. But then what happens is slowly everything that's related that can be stuck to it starts to be part of that story, right? So it's not just that people that, like, let's say, strictly identified with Nazism, that were in the party for the whole time and celebrated the chancellor and did all that. Those people, obviously, they're forbidden. But soon it's like, well, now Heidegger is forbidden. And then later it's like, well, actually anything that is trying to show that a nation, European nation, is great. No, you can't have that.
Right. Anything showing that a European nation is great, you can't show that. Right. Now, I would assume once you realize this, you would handle that with more of a triage, urgency, severity. And especially seeing in conjunction with the amount of violence the left is enacting in society and how moderate mainstream Democrats seem to sweep for it and defend it, right?
That's Nazism. Then all the imagery in the US that's from the South, because that's racism. Now it's not even about the Civil War. It's actually framed in World War II mythology. You can't have that. So Confederate flag out. all that out. Nationalism out. Anything that celebrates European identity starts to get pushed out. Okay. So it grows.
Let's examine this mechanic more closely. Nazism serves as the archetype of evil in the post-war consensus. When we have debates about the merits of nationalism, which is a concept that in principle can be separated from the historical reality of Nazism, we still use the Nazis' embrace of nationalism as a mark against it. The same thing happens for things like family values, which is even further removed from Nazism, but will still be associated with it as a means of criticizing it. And eventually, things as far removed as working out can be considered right.
Right. So this is started by the Moos, and why do you suppose the Moos always support the commies, right? Now they support the commies until they start turning on the Moos, but who's really in charge? The Moos, not the commies. So like, there's a whole literary lineage of this, by the way. I can show you all of the anti-white Mooish authors. We've shown many of things on stream and whatnot, so I don't have to relitigate it. But it's like, well, yeah, so that is like the crux of the problem. And this is how a small, disproportionate population can make it illegal to deny this World War II mythology in 19 countries. Which is why I feel a responsibility to talk about this, because it's literally illegal for a portion of my audience to discuss these ideas. How does that happen? Are we curious about that at all whatsoever? Or do we just go, you know, both sides? Yeah, but what about the stuff the right does? That's what kills me.
Right wing because of its proximity to fascism.
Did lifting weights turn you into a fascist? Yes. Why has there been so many media stories about exercise turning people right wing?
For sure, the question of like, is lifting right wing is something that I have thought about a lot because I've seen people having these conversations.
You can see the same process with a different variation of secular.
Don't you love that? Is lifting right wing, and there's mainstream articles about it. But like, you know, is usury mooish? I mean, why was that not in the public lexicon of things to talk about? That's strange.
Morality, in which left-wing communism serves as the archetype of evil over Nazism. Redistributive wealth policies, which were, at least in principle, central to communism, are attacked as communist evil ideas, and eventually any...
You have to realize, calling all Democrats communists is more true than even implying the right wing is Newtsy. I mean, I'm not even going to go into it. This is what makes me decide whether or not I have to make an edited video, is how many examples I want to show, but I'm talking to people that know what I'm talking about.
Level of state regulation gets compared to communism due to it being the standard of evil in the minds of many.
We're making it laws where you can't drink when you want to. You have to wear a seatbelt when you're driving. And pretty soon we're going to be communist country.
Notice, just like the left, he has to go to this kind of like older footage of saying that drinking and driving is going to, you know, not allowing that is going to turn you into a communist country. Is that really proportionate or equivalent to turning the concept of Satan into a man and using that to attack white Christians? Is this really equivalent? Is that kind of a stretch?
Creep is a problem because it prevents us from having nuanced discussions about very complex moral issues. Instead of evaluating the merits of nationalism or a wealth tax on their face, thought-terminating accusations of Nazism or communism are used to silence discussion around the issues. It's not difficult to come up with reasonable arguments against a highly nationalist state, and it's certainly not difficult to come up with arguments against the wealth tax, but signal creep actually prevents one from being able to make those arguments because it sounds like you're giving either idea a platform, which then actually puts you in the camp of being a suspected Nazi or communist for even willing to engage with an idea.
Jubilee is becoming increasingly...
Hold on. Puts you into the camp of being a Nazi or communist. Do you see how much more dubious this is? That soft equivocation right there. Ilhan Omar's daughter is a communist. She had hammer and sickle in her profile and was protesting, talking about bringing down the United States. Okay? That's allowed. That doesn't even make the news. Implying someone's a Nazi will get you fired, and it'll be a mainstream news story. I mean, even a 16-year-old wearing a MAGA hat, smiling at a Native American, got him death threats and made national news in 2017. So that equivocation right there, to someone who's just leaving the left because they're crazy, they might listen to a centrist and go, yeah, I need to be careful because of the Newtsies. Commies and Newtsies like have an equivalent pull in society. That is what's nefarious about the centrist.
irresponsible with their platform, and are secretly sidestepping their original goals as a company by moving ever closer to and making concessions with the far right.
Now, there are two ways to resist signal creep. The first is by clearly demonstrating the distance between an idea and the archetype of evil. This is very easy to do when people claim working out is fascist or drunk driving laws are communist. However, this is much more difficult when it comes to other issues. For example, central to Nazi ideology was the hatred of the Jewish religion. While the Nazis also viewed Christianity as problematic, it's not nearly as core to their ideology. This is why in the moral framework of the post-war consensus.
So Nazis had anti-Muish beliefs. Okay. So now if you have, and this right now, is there a way to have anti-Muish beliefs without being a Nazi? Interesting.
Calling Christianity a parasitic mind virus, as many atheists do, is perfectly acceptable. But if you say the same thing about Judaism, it is considered more morally repugnant solely due to the fact that it is conceptually closer to the archetype of evil in the post-war consensus framework. This brings us to the second way to resist signal creep, which is outright rejecting the framework to begin with. If someone believes in the Marxist critiques of capitalism, it's an inescapable fact that they will overlap with communist ideology to some degree, and not in just an incidental way, but in a way that is materially significant. Instead of spending time arguing whether or not Marxism is or is not a central aspect of communism, one can simply reject the notion that its proximity to communism matters at all. This requires the undermining of the entire moral framework, and this is in part done by normalizing communist symbolism and ideology in the broader culture. The dangers of this are obvious. While reduced,
the moves allow communism to thrive throughout the West. That is the difference.
Seeing the status of communism as the archetype of evil allows us to more freely engage with Marxist ideas and better separate the wheat from the chaff. It also opens the door to the very reemergence of the excesses of communist ideology that earned it its archetype of evil status to begin with. This is precisely what is happening with Nazism and the collapse of the post-war consensus. Kanye West making a song praising Hitler is an example of a direct assault on the status of Nazism as the archetype of evil and the normalization of pro-Hitler.
Exactly. The purpose of that is to say, fuck you, stop telling me what I can and can't talk about, stop acting like this is blasphemy or a sacred cow. He fully understands this, okay?
Memes and TikTok edits further contributes to the rejection of the post-war consensus. But perhaps most practically, the reason that the post-war consensus is falling apart is simply a function of temporal distance between our current understanding of morality and the original historical event that happened now almost 100 years ago.
The problem too is that that story, like this story, will run out. There's no way that it can maintain forever. Like you can't have the Nazis be the bad guys for 1,000 years. I mean, Alexander the Great was a horrible man. Alexander the Great slaughtered entire cities just because they didn't want to completely, they didn't surrender immediately and just salted the earth and killed everyone, all the men, all the women, all the children. But we remember him with a more subtlety.
It's possible to see, but we don't want that happening with Hitler.
The thing is that I know this sounds like the weirdest thing to say in the world, but it is going to happen. Like it's going to happen. Maybe it'll happen over 500 years.
Maybe it'll take Hitler will become a sort of heroic figure.
He won't necessarily be. I don't know if he'll see it.
In order to sell him on this idea that maybe in 500 years, Hitler won't be the Antichrist. Really think about the stronghold the moves have had on us, where in order for him to even introduce that idea, maybe 500 years. Even in his wildest imagination, it's 500 years.
A heroic figure, but he will be a more subtle figure. Like he'll just have a more subtle place in the history. He won't just be the incarnation of all that is evil in humanity, even though he did obviously horrendous, horrible things. And that's just going to happen. I know it sounds weird. People don't, it's going to happen because of time. It's going to happen because the stakes are going to go away and the things that held the world together are going to start to dissolve. And another story is going to appear and another devil is going to come, and
another devil is going to come. This is the issue when there is one devil and there is one God.
And that devil will replace that one. And so it's just inevitable that it happens. The question is, you can say that when the end of World War II founded the modern world as a kind of mythological substructure, it had an expiration date. We don't know what the expiration date is, but in some ways it just had it.
As the post-war consensus collapses, it does free up our ability to discuss things like the virtues of nationalism or the negative aspects of a religion like Judaism. But at the same time, it's undeniable that the collapse of this secular religion also runs the risk of allowing genuine right-wing extremism to reemerge. One of the things that Friedrich Nietzsche famously predicted was that as secular Europe rejected Christianity, violence and destruction would emerge in the effort to create new moral frameworks. And now, as the religion of the post-war consensus collapses around us, we also run the risk of a repeat of the civilizational destruction we saw in the 20th century. There's much more to say on this topic, but until then, good luck and Godspeed.
Okay. So one might watch that and go, oh, dude, this guy is good at advocating for dissident right-wing ideas, But he's a centrist. And that's the issue. He might lure you in with that, but he's going to go, hey, whoa. But another might happen is what he replaces that with in his rhetoric. Kosher Bush Assault for 15 of something. Thank you. Take my shekels before Mossad and Shin Bet arrest me for supporting you. My Moo banker called. He's not happy. Thank you, bruv. Kang Armadillo, $5. Did you get all the Nick videos before Patreon nuked NXR? No, I did not. So now we're just going to have to wait for those to come out. I can't believe he used Patreon. Why wouldn't you just use Subscribestar? Or how were people so bad at being dissident right-wingers, dude? Why would you use Patreon? How do you not? I swear, is that people, no matter how prolific they are, if they're too new to the internet, they make these mistakes. I thought he knew what he was doing by putting it on Patreon, but apparently not. Modern Magus for $5. Thank you. Right-wing evidence is looking out the window. Left-wing evidence starts at least 30 years ago. Really? If that's true, then why do they always bring up slavery? Thank you. Hal Nink for $2. Thank you. A tip for not blaspheming the Lord. Convert. Hey, whoa. I'm sorry. Is it your plan or is it God's plan? Okay. I'm doing something over here. I'm cooking. Okay. There needs to be a transitionary force for what's happening right now. Someone to unify all the quote unquote extremist positions and allow someone a landing pad and then have them decide which direction they want to go in, which is towards Christ, definitely. But they have to be able to decide that. I can't, because I mean, what you have to understand from the atheist perspective, or for someone that's just coming from the left or coming from the liberals, the centrists, it's confusing. You got Protestants, you got Baptists, you got, it's almost like religious crypto, where everyone's telling you how to do it, and it's a little bit different from everybody. It needs to be a more broad, general, unifying message, and it has to be left up to them. Because it can be very confusing for a non-believer that wants to believe, and I have many people in my audience that have believed or are non-believers that want to believe, but it's really confusing from the outside looking in. But I do appreciate the sentiment. Double Mumble, $5. Thank you very much. By the way, he's just wrong. The main enemy of Schnazis was the commies. Moves were just a side project. Like they've ever been a side project. I understand why you may say that because you've read it. I very much can't imagine that they've ever been a side project. Kosher Bush Salt for 6 of something. When are the Hard R super special streams? Those happen when the mighty spirit calls upon me, okay? A lot of this stuff I can't necessarily determine. At the end of the day, I'm an atheist liberal. I don't map these things out, right? So I also like to make it like how it was in the 90s, where you have to look at the TV guide. You got to see what's on TV, man. That's how it is. Your generation nowadays is spoiled knowing when things are going to happen. I remember not wanting to go to Taekwondo because I wanted to see the episode of Power Rangers with the White Ranger Tommy, okay? I want you to experience wanting to see Tommy, but you have to go to Taekwondo. I hope that made sense. Second extension for $5. Oh no, fellas, we're getting 2 hours into the stream. We're getting loopy. Love how his signal creep is just Adorno. Yeah, this is what Fist always brings up. If you really care about something, it's a slippery slope to the painter. So sometimes you got to not care. Fist would love that comment. Kosher Bush Salt for 6 of something. Keep cooking, my fella. Mo shekels for the worthy. Thank you very much. And finally, Hail Nink for $5. I disagree, but here's another tip because you're based. Convert anyway. When an atheist converts, you bring power level with you. Well, I have always historically taken a very unique route, and those fruits are beginning to blossom. Now, fellas, appreciate it, by the way. I consider myself to be a good discerner of fruit, and I do consider myself to have good fruit, okay? We'll just start there. We'll start with the fruit. We'll start with the fruity fellas, Get a little fruity first. I don't know if that's the best messaging, but I think you understand what I'm saying. So we have all my beliefs the right would deport me for having, okay? And we also have, because he's a centrist, all my beliefs the left would shoot me for having. Now, there's going to be 2 teams right here. So the left would shoot him for these opinions, okay? Transgender ideology is nonsense, okay? I guess we'll watch this one first. So he thinks transgender ideology is nonsense, okay? Pretty normal opinion, right? Too many people on the left hate white people. Huh. Wow, look at what the left is like. Look at what the left focuses on. Trans your kids and hate white people. And nationalism is a good thing, and they're anti-nationalist, okay? So we're going to watch that video first, but just so it's fresh in your mind. That's going to be going against for the right. White identity politics is garbage, which is the response to the left hating whites. Too many people on the right hate women, which also is a response to how the women are very left-coded and the disgruntled attitude many men have because there's not enough pussy for right-wing dick, okay? So that's interesting. It's okay to be gay. We're going to cover that. So far we have trans your kids, hate being white, and don't love your country versus being white is good. Women being critical of women, don't be gay, and Donald Trump isn't a degenerate. By the way, he throws around the word degenerate all the time, talks to Destiny. Get out of here with that. Anyway, you can see how this is boiling my blood already because the left wants to shoot him for these opinions he has, and I think the right-wing ones aren't nearly as bad as the left-wing ones. I mean, am I going crazy? Are these really both equivalent? Let's find out. So he was based. He can be based. He understands the right wing, but he has to do the enlightened centrist shuffle, which is bottlenecking the right wing, which politically, sorry, dude, is a transgression against the greater political project that I view we have to join in order to combat the left. Here we go.
Forward, I'm going to be using the dark centrist political compass as the lens by which I analyze politics. On the horizontal axis, it's still left versus right, but at the top of the vertical axis, we have mentally stable, and at the bottom, we have psychopathic degenerate. Most people are in the top two quadrants, and you can be here completely independent of whether or not I think your political beliefs are good or bad. For example, if someone believes in open borders or banning evolution.
The classic enlightened centrist, kind of like James Lindsay, let me create like my own system and put things into a category and pigeonhole them immediately before I think further about them. This is going to cause him to have a post hoc rationalization of these things, right?
In schools, I'm going to think you're completely wrong, but if you're at least mentally stable and trying to orient yourself towards pro-human ends, then I can be in dialogue with you at minimum. However, the bottom two quadrants contain people that are simply not worth engaging. In the bottom left quadrant, we have the kind of people who found personal joy in the death of Charlie Kirk.
The best part of this whole goddamn thing is that he is not martyr material, so his death will mean nothing. It will.
Okay, so far, starting off pretty strong with the left, dancing on the grave of Charlie Kirk.
Activate no one. It will impact few. It's just great.
And in the bottom right quadrant, we have, the Nick Fuentes fans who say we should treat Jewish children the way Israel treats Palestinian children.
And now he's pivoting to someone who can't show their face when they say this because of the power dynamics in society. So he's pivoting to a random anon. Okay. Which one seems to be more dangerous so far?
Because that's definitely a very Christian message. So in this video, I want to articulate all the beliefs I have that there will be people on the left who are mentally stable who will disagree with me, but for sure, everyone who is a left-wing psychopathic degenerate will want me dead for these beliefs. So in no particular...
Mind you, when he says freak left and freak right, that's his way of calling you woke right or racist, right? It's just meant to completely discount you.
Order. Transgender ideology is nonsense. I have talked to transgender people on this channel and they're perfectly reasonable. And there's a big difference between transgender people and transgender ideologues. And so to the ideologues, I would say there's no such thing as gender identity. There's no such thing as being born in the wrong body. And yes, far-right religious fundamentalists like Richard Dawkins are correct when he says trans women are not actually women. There are fundamental sex differences between men and women, and no amount of genital surgery or hormone therapy.
This is such a demonic cult that took stronghold so quickly where they were able to medicalize something unfalsifiable, really cutting off the bloodline to several generations of Americans through this confusion and mass gaslighting, which the Moos were completely on board with, and also helped develop with Tikkun Olam and Reform Moodyism, which always leans progressive. That's the definition of it. So that's really bad.
Therapy is ever going to change that. What's more, if you think that there's a difference between sex and gender is a social construct and sex being a biological reality, you are a fascist. This is why transgender ideologues who've occupied the universities use terms like sex assigned at birth as an alternative to biological sex. Because just like gender, biological...
We have Columbia Law Review, so there is institutional backing in this transgender ideology.
Sex is also a social construct, and only a disgusting fascist like Richard Dawkins would suggest that biological sex is binary.
So, like this idea...
Mind you, we see even on the quote-unquote right, the kosher centrist, the kosher right, will use the same verbiage for actual right-wingers that are nationalistic and pro-white.
Idea that like, oh, you're not a biological woman. Well, I am a woman. That's a fact. I am female. So all my identity records, my racing license, my medical records all say female, right? And I'm pretty sure I made a biological stuff. So I'm a biological female as well. Like I said, this boils down to, are trans women really...
This is platformed by The Daily Show Uncontested, which has 10 million views. So we have institutional backing, medical backing, and mass media backing. Sounds pretty dangerous and nefarious and demonic.
Women, are they really female?
They're not. Now, to the degree that mental illness can be reasonably defined, I would say that anyone who feels the need to surgically remove their own genitals in order to feel mentally healthy is by definition mentally ill. Feeling discomfort with one's own body is among the most normal experiences a human being can experience, but wanting to surgically remove your own genitals or take exogenous hormones is generally a pathological response to that feeling of alienation from one's body. And I would say the exact same thing about anorexics or extreme body obsessive bodybuilders who go to the gym 10 hours a day and take steroids and all kinds of shit. It's all a form of body dysmorphia.
So I spend a lot of time on incel forums, and so I guess what I found is that there's something kind of profoundly, I guess, relatable to me about the obsessive self-abuse that a lot of incels have, right? This kind of putting themselves down all the time, and to the point of
In order for this to be equivalent, you would need this level of institutional backing to talk about the Moos, right? I mean, this seems horrific for society and a catalyst for how they gain power over people. I would love to see the equivalent concerns with the right.
Physiologically, anatomically analyzing their defects in great detail. And that, it reminded me, I guess, of a lot of the uglier trans spaces online, which in a different, in a kind of different context, involve exactly the same thing, which is a kind of an obsessively negative, self-harming analysis of your own anatomy.
I also believe a significant proportion of people who identify as transgender and take cross-sex hormones and all that are compensating for some other mental illness. Many of these people have autism or some other psychopathology that they develop.
That's nice, centrist, that you believe that, but it's mainstream, institutionally, governmentally backed. So the centrists will do this with racism or anti-Semitism. Well, it really does exist because here's how I define it. No one cares how you define it. This is how it's used in society. But the centrist is like, aha, but I have an opinion. Good for you, motherfucker. Do you want a cookie?
Developed in childhood, and they think they're transgender and they think that taking hormones and getting surgery will solve all their problems when in fact it won't. But you know what? There are transgender people who are just straight up their brain is wired in a certain way, and if they get body modification surgery as adult, it happens to work out for them. Because trans women are not women, but trans people are people, and people are complex. Even if it's true that being transgender is a mental illness, it says absolutely nothing about the degree to which that person deserves respect and dignity and the ability to be part of a community.
No, it does when you see how they dress and how they act. I mean, no, it's weird. It's really weird. That's degenerate, isn't that? We're not using the word degenerate there. Anyone find that strange? When he uses the word degenerate only for the right. See how sneaky that is? With the left, it's really easy to pick it out, but then someone leaves the left and they go, "Oh, awesome! Let's come on over to the right wing." Then we get a guy like this being like, "Hold on, wait a minute. I have a really nuanced position that's still kind of left. You don't want to be a nudesy, do you?" That's my issue with this.
Community and whether or not they can be a productive member of society. If someone has schizophrenia or clinical depression, they're mentally ill. That doesn't mean they should be ostracized from society. That certainly doesn't mean they're abominations.
A woman shall not wear a man's garment, nor shall a man put on a woman's cloak. For whoever does these things is an abomination to the Lord your God. You hear that, William Thomas? You're an abomination to God.
And even though a lot of transgender ideology is complete bullshit and degenerate.
So if you're asking the question, am I trans? The answer is probably yes.
So what? It's everywhere in society, especially, from 2020 to 2023, it really exploded. But the issue is that he called it an abomination. So see the equivocation right now of the levels of harm caused?
There is still something to be said about making space for people who are gender nonconforming, because that's a real thing. And males and females can be all manner of degrees of masculine or feminine.
If someone asked me, do I believe that there are gender fluid people? I would say yes. And I would say a young man who's gender fluid, I know what he's like temperamentally. He's high in agreeableness. He's high in neuroticism. So he has a feminine temperament. He's more interested in people than things. And he's extremely high.
I'm sorry, are we describing a 2,000-year-old people right now? Who are we describing?
High in openness. And so his temperament is fluid. He's creative, and so he's one thing one day and one thing the next. And his fundamental temperament is tilted towards the feminine. But that doesn't mean he's not a man. You could say with reason.
Does he also happen to have a matriarchal lineage in his family?
Reasonable certainty that 1 in 10 women has a masculine temperament and 1 in 10 men has a feminine temperament. And so that's a lot of people.
I am genderqueer, trans, masc, and queer. I'm trans and I use he.
And we can see how this ideology is affecting children. Okay? So, I mean, it's going to be really hard to show what's happening on the right that's going to be like of even remotely equal concern.
And pronouns. Yeah, and I use he, they pronouns.
And those people, especially if they're also creative, well, they're kind of at a loss in relationship to what to do with their identity. First of all, they have a hard time catalyzing their identity. Creative people have a hard time catalyzing it. It's like the definition of creativity. They're protean. And so there have been people who play at the edges of gender identity forever. And fair enough. And sometimes that's even admirable if it's done in a sophisticated way. And it's charismatic.
You see how he's talking to the moo. The Orthodox moo with an Israeli wife. And then he worked for the Orthodox moo. Oh, with him. Sorry. Doesn't own it. It's even in a sophisticated way. That's Tikkun Olam. Repairing the world. There's always a way. Like, this is how they defy what they view as God's orders, okay? There's always a way around it. And in some way, right? And this used to really infest my liberal brain where technically, there's a possibility, right? Oh, the right wing just shakes you out of that. Oh.
Dramatic. So you see it in Mick Jagger, you see it in David Bowie, you see it in people like Madonna as well, because Madonna had
I wonder who was cutting their checks.
A hard edge, that was very masculine. And all the Marvel superhero women have a hard masculine edge. And so we find that charismatic because those people are also integrated.
So yes, the people who say that transgenderism should be eradicated are going a little bit too far, in my opinion. And of course, there are people who will say that, transgender people are mentally ill just to be cruel.
You see how it's going too far to eradicate transgenderism? That's going too far. So then what's the replacement prescription, fellas? Okay, this is what James Lindsay does. Now, PF Jung does grant the right-wing arguments, and he is capable of repeating them succinctly, fairly, and in good faith. This is my issue. He acknowledges everything and goes, yeah, but, don't go too far. Be really cautious, okay? It's still, you don't want to go too far. You can go too far. It's that same neuroticism that he gets from the left by being a centrist. You can't be a little bit of a PDF file. You have to cut it off completely. You can't do a little bit of heroin. This is how it still lingers in his messaging. Okay, Tess, $2. Thank you. Skip Taekwondo for White Ranger. Are you me? See, it's a common sentiment. Revolutionary for $2. Let's get fruity, fellas, said the cool guy. He's never going to let me live down calling myself a cool guy. I can see why. This is why I don't stream all the time, okay? It really just opens me up to liability. But I love it. Bill Clinton Skin Suit for $5. Thank you. Have to head to work. Have a nice rest of the stream and a million blessings on all the fellas. Tid, where are these extremists? Okay. I say very offensive things. Okay. I very much criticize the populations where it should be like, you should be terrified of. This is why I'm saying the right wing is the center, is normal. Do you see like how nice like my community is? Hey guys, just want to wish you, just hanging out. I got to go now. Announcing that he's like leaving. This is all the time. We don't have any drama in my community. It's insane. That was one of the things I was afraid about with like right-wing stuff because of what I've heard and Jay spurging and they're hateful and whatnot and they're trolls and nope, all a lie. Everything I've been told is a lie and I am on a warpath to correct it.
But the fact that those people exist doesn't change the underlying truth. You can't elevate compassion over truth. Otherwise, all you have is false compassion. And that helps no one. There are many, many transgender people who are perfectly aware that they are not actually.
This is sneaky. Now, what does he do? He acknowledges the truth, right? But then he has a system that totalizes it as if it's black and white opposing forces. He doesn't give the levity to one side that's much more dangerous than the other. Is the right wing dangerous? I can't even say yes at this point. In comparison to the left, not even close.
Actually the opposite sex. They just want to get the surgery and the treatments and live their life and go play Fallout New Vegas and make EDM music. And those people are base. But none of that will stop the psychopathic degenerate left from crying about what I'm saying. Too many people on the left.
Okay, psychopathic degenerate left. Okay, just a portion of them, not all of them. Okay, there's a lot of good moderate Democrats that believed that Derek Chauvin should go to prison and that Kyle Rittenhouse murdered people, a nice moderate Democrat. But here we go. Too many people on the left hate white people. Now, the transgender thing is an affront against humanity itself. Okay. It's an abomination against God through and through very easily. It's demonic. Okay. So now let's go into the material world of hating white people. Okay.
Hate white people. There are a ton of minorities on the left who just straight up hate white people. When Dean Withers, a very popular TikTok debate bro, posted his reaction to Charlie Kirk getting shot, he started crying for utterly understandable reasons. He just watched his peer get shot through the fucking neck.
Imagine being a 12-year-old, watching your dad fucking die. Nobody deserves that. Not even Charlie Kirk.
And this is the response he got from people on the left for feeling empathy with Charlie Kirk. How insanely stupid do you have to be, a white man asking people of color?
Who would you say shows more humanity for their political opposition, the left or the right? So he might be able to find someone that calls themselves a Groper and a Catholic, saying something very uncouth. But in the aggregate, overall, overwhelmingly, the right shows much more concern for the death of their political opposition.
Or queer people and minorities to sympathize with a fucking fascist. Fuck Charlie Kirk and you, lol. At the end of the day, even the most activist and leftist white man is still a white man. This is deranged, and people who believe this are possessed by a pathological, degenerate ideology. One that claims that white people are the reason.
One that's been in academia for like 70 years. And then all of the anti-white mooish authors. Dude, what is his name? Noel Ignatieff, 2002, in the Harvard magazine, said we need to abolish the white race. And it's in academia, dude, okay? So, again, institutionally backed. I know you think it's degenerate, okay? I'm trying to highlight how pervasive and prevalent it is in society, and that's why it should be under a much higher scrutiny than a random edgelord, than what Groyper 1488 said, as the National Guard is oh my God, no one gets me mad like the centrist. Compared to the violence in the street from the leftist, dude. What violence does the right enact holistically Come on.
That black people and minorities are behind, or some minorities, because there's many minorities that are way ahead of white people. I believe the fact that on average, black people have worse socioeconomic outcomes than white people is not due to discrimination. It's due to many reasons. Systemic racism I could accept, depending.
Uh-huh. Do you see the issue? Do you see the issue? If you, yeah, you know what? Maybe just talk to the devil a little bit, you know? You know, dude, he's diddling a kid kind of, and he's like, see, he's just going to a school and he has no kids and he's just giving random kids a hug, you know, he's just dipping his toe in it. You can't seed any of the ground. You need to cut it off completely, dude.
Depending on how you define it. But one of the reasons is that there's a significant IQ gap between black and white populations, which is something that even the most mainstream liberal academics acknowledge.
And you know, as far as these intelligence tests, you've got black, Latino, Asian, and white. And it comes out in the same order, which I'm not even going to specify, again and again and again. Decade after decade, not just one IQ test, but many kinds, various tests for various professions. It's always the same fucking order. And you can have questions about each test. You can have questions about whether there's a such thing as G, but I'm sorry. The fact that those tests always come out in the same order, all these disparate people, it's always the same thing. To say that that means nothing is to be a denialist. It means that you just can't deal with a certain discomfort.
What's more, not even Charles Murray, the guy who everyone calls a Nazi for pointing this gap out, claims that the gap is entirely or even mostly.
Not everyone calls a Nazi Paul. Commies and moos. You think right-wingers call it? Not everyone, Paul. See how sneaky it is? It's just not quite correct, is it?
Due to genetics.
And I want to ask you now, what do you make of the power of cultural differences to cause these cognitive differences, not just public policy?
It's big. I agree with you that it's big. Well, let me give the most obvious example, the one that I think has a huge effect, and that is cultural. In a lot of Black communities, of razzing kids who study hard, they are acting white. And it's made socially very unpleasant for them. They have all sorts of incentives not to act white and not to stand out. That is a cultural difference that nobody argues about whether it exists or not. Now, if that could change, if you had magically the Asian tiger mom.
I love how we're talking about culture and he goes, now, let's be realistic. What if we had magic? Like, hold on, dude. What point do you think you're making? Why do we have to magically do it? And how much of it is environment if we have to invoke magic?
Mentality, where it's constant pressure to perform academically. Do I think that would make a difference? Yeah, I do.
But you can go beyond just culture. Look, if you believe that because of systemic racism, Black people are going to worse schools on average, then what is the logical outcome of that? Worse schools mean a smaller pool of qualified candidates that there would otherwise be. And so that's why Black people are not getting hired as much at corporations, not because corporate America is racist or discriminatory. That's deranged. Yet there remains a particular pathological strain of leftist ideology that claims that the reason Black people and certain minorities have worse outcomes is because of white male.
Not a particular strain. It's been running the United States since the Civil Rights Act. He's making it sound fringe. Do you see how he is downplaying the severity of these things that we've been surrounded by? He's not allowing you to wake up to this consciousness, okay? That's really the issue. He's trying to keep you exactly where you are.
Wake up.
Woke. That's the issue.
Of course, many of these white males also can't afford houses and also can't afford to start families and actually would be willing to enter a multiracial economic coalition to address real economic problems. But there's just a bunch of people on the left who just hate white people more than they care about actually making a difference. And that's a real problem. And
it's just a bunch of people on the left. So you see how he gives you enough to show that he's not on the left, right? It's just a bunch of people on the left. That is dangerous because it's subversive, intentionally or not. It is downplaying the severity of the issue, but he seems, see, he doesn't want to get too crazy with it. So he'll let you hear the right-wing position on things. And he's like, yeah, it's crazy and dumb and bad and whatever. It's like, no, there's a history of it happening very intentionally. It is manufactured. That is why you have to be right-wing.
It's just the truth. Nationalism is a good thing. There's a popular graph that shows how conservatives offer more moral consideration to their friends, family, and fellow citizens than they do people in other countries, whereas liberals have sort of the opposite moral intuition. I believe the conservative moral intuition is the proper and justified moral order. It's entirely appropriate to feel a greater sense of responsibility to the people in your own nation state than other people. And you know who else?
It's appropriate, not necessary, not fulfilling your destiny, not continuing your lineage, not considering the world and country that you want your kids and grandkids and future generations to grow up in. It's permissible.
Who else believes this? Bernie Sanders.
Open borders. That's a Koch brothers proposal. The idea, of course, I mean, that's a right-wing proposal which says essentially there is no United States.
But it would make a lot of
me.
the global poor richer, wouldn't it?
And it'd make everybody in America poor. Then you're doing away with the concept of a nation state. And I don't think there's any country on the world which believes in that.
Excellent. Here we go. Scornful. Yeah, that's because right-wingers tend to be normal. Normal is the center. And believe in concepts such as objective truth and objective morality. That is normal. Normal is center. Correct. Right wing is the center. Yes.
If you believe in a nation state or in a country called the United States or UK or Denmark or any other country, you have an obligation, in my view, to do everything we can to help poor people. What right-wing people in this country would love is an open border policy. Bring in all kinds of people who work for $2 or $3 an hour. That would be great for them. I don't believe in that.
Human beings are social creatures with a strong sense of collective identity. And it's just a fact that I feel a greater sense of affinity for some rando in California than I do someone in Poland or Indonesia or China.
Perfect. This is where I come into play. Even if I feel the same way, you have a responsibility to validate pro-white sentiments, to even just strategically, to offset. I mean, there's been so much anti-white stuff I've grown up around and we've been surrounded by, to still pose it ambivalently. So you have the left, which is anti-white, and then you have the center, which isn't pro or anti-white, okay? So without the right wing being pro-white, I mean, where does this lead? Game theory. Where do you think that leads? You have to be pro-white. Even as a non-white person, you need to be pro-white. Pro-white essentially means that the West was built by white people and Christianity. And the more free white people are, the better it is for people that are not white, that seek cohesion with white people. It is very simple and straightforward. And it's how most white right-wingers feel.
China or India or wherever. This doesn't justify the exploitation of other countries. Cooperation and mutualism are more beneficial strategies in the long run than consumerist-driven exploitation and extraction of other people's resources.
So I think from a moral responsibility, we've got to work with the rest of the industrialized world to address the problems of international poverty, but you don't do that by making people in this country even poorer.
Being a nationalist justifies prioritizing the well-being of people who are closer to your tribe than the well-being of others. It's an extension of the basic principle that it's good that you feel.
This is what right wing sounds like. Chad Lynch, thank you. If you don't unapologetically take your own side, right? You don't have to explain it. You don't have to intellectualize it. You just do it without any any debate or anything because they'll try to intellectualize it. They'll try to make it muddy. When exactly is somebody white enough? I don't know. Whatever it is. Unapologetically and instinctively, you will be destroyed by people who unapologetically take their side. It's game theory, which PF Jung understands, right? So there's a level there of like, you know what you're doing. Now, the leftist is confused and doesn't know what he's doing, right? But PF Jung, the centrists, kind of know what they're doing because they understand the arguments, but they're, I don't want to say it's a grift, but like now he's built himself on centrism, so he has to do it. And so this is the same thing with Destiny. Or when I would watch Destiny, it was to watch him argue with commies, right? And then whenever he would argue with the right, it just wasn't compelling. It was contrived arguments. And that's what you have with centrists. It's very contrived criticism while the house is burning down of the right.
Feel a greater sense of responsibility to your own children than the children of others. And the reason is because when you take care of your own, you set yourself up to be in a better position to take care of everyone else. That's why you're supposed to secure your own oxygen mask before securing the mask of those around you.
Right.
And remember to always put your own mask on first before helping others.
And as an American, my nation is unique because it's not based on a genetic identity. It's based on a mimetic one. And as a nationalist, I think it's perfectly reasonable to want to preserve the character of that mimetic identity. Immigration is good when we get the best and brightest and people come here and want to assimilate to that mimetic identity because we're not a race-based nation and anyone can be an American.
Well, also, we used to choose immigrants from Europe. So you really shouldn't leave that out. It's not just anyone, because people from other regions, and this is the well technically logic. Well, technically someone from anywhere. Yeah, well, technically possibly yes. But anything is possible, but fewer things are probable. And it's a country that we have. And dude, what we need to do is get some motherfuckers from the UK and European countries and prioritize them to come over here to replace the people that are being deported. Has anyone advocated for that yet? If they have, I've missed it. I don't want to say I came up with it, but that keeps occurring to me that that's what should be advocated for.
But it's perfectly reasonable to not want people to come here who they themselves don't want to assimilate. I have no problem living in a country where people have very different cultural values than mine. But I do have a problem if it's just a threshold phenomenon where if a large enough number of people comes into this country and they start carving out cultural enclaves that are completely separate to my own, that's not a...
Well, now imagine there's Somali fraud and it's on the taxpayer dole that billions of dollars are being sent overseas, and they're using it as essentially Somali puppy mills for themselves to breed as quickly as humanly possible. This is what Muslims do. And they grow very quickly. Look at the UK. So you can't just look at things ideologically. You have to confront the reality of certain groups will do that, especially when they have nefarious motives and don't like the country and they're looking to invade and take it over.
Assimilating to the American mimetic identity, that's just carving out your own cultural enclave separate from it. For example, I don't want to live in a neighborhood where the majority of the people in the neighborhood don't speak English. If I can't even communicate with my own neighbors, how can we have a high trust society?
Now, what do you do about that as a centrist? Now, we don't want to be too extreme and right wing, okay? So what's the prescription from the centrist? Do you see how it starts to feel like, even though he's, much more based and educated than James Lindsay, even still, like, so what's the prescription? He just wants you to understand what's going on and do nothing about it or not advocate for anything out of a fear of extremism as the country gets, cities get burned to the ground.
Society. And in my own experience, and certainly I have friends who live in states like Minnesota where you go to the grocery store and talk to 3 different people and none of them speak English. That's a problem. But even beyond that, I don't want to live in a neighborhood where the majority of people have religious and cultural values that are at odds with my own as an American.
I have no problem letting this moron try to one-guy me. Do you understand me? Here's the centrist. Yep. No, he's not a leftist, guys, okay? He just sounds like one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, totally different.
I would not want to raise a family in a place where the majority of people around me believe that it's immoral for women to walk outside unless they're covered head to toe in a niqab. I wouldn't want to live in a city where the majority of people think that, other people of their own race are morally inferior.
God mode enabled. Nazis need to take responsibility for themselves and not blame ethnic groups. You'll never get the majority on your side. Define a Nazi and tell me who a Nazi is that you're referring to, if you can, but you're a leftist. No, I'm sorry. You're a centrist. I'm sorry. I get the two confused. I'm sorry.
To them because they happen to be born in a different caste. This doesn't mean we need a state church. This doesn't mean we become a full-on Christian theocracy. But it does mean we acknowledge that the American mimetic identity has Christian underpinnings and that we should reject the idea that people are just interchangeable economic units. And as long as they abide by the rules and just agree to our laws, that's the only thing that culture is made of. That culture and the human collective identity is just economic transactions and abiding by laws. It's like, no, it's...
There it is. God mode enabled. This chat is the definition of Nazi, by the way. God mode, are you a leftist? I'm sorry, what do you politically identify as? I'm sure it's something that's definitely not leftist.
More than that. What exactly it is a very difficult question. It's one of the most important political projects of the next few decades, defining what it means to be an American.
I think there's like some kind of deep spiritual sickness in the country or something.
Yeah.
Like there's something wrong with us.
What do you think that is?
It might have something to do with our lack of connections to the land.
Huh.
It might have something to do with just like our identity confusion.
Return to the land.
Kind of being ripped away from the old world and kind of had to forge this new identity here.
I hadn't considered that up until a few months ago. But when you see America as a nation without ancestors.
Yeah.
And then you think of the importance of ancestors and mythology from all over.
Do you see how much we have to intellectualize this when there's a Black History Month where it says black girl power on little 5-year-old black girls t-shirts? The asymmetry is overwhelming.
The world and this like sense that we are here and stewards of the land, and I come from a lineage and there are people who are proud of and counting on me who have already passed on, and then America's just like, prior to your grandparent, it's just nothing.
Now, at some point in the future, I will need to make a video called something effective, all the beliefs I have that the right would burn me at the stake for.
Aha!
So until then, good luck and Godspeed.
Well, why don't we mosey on over to that video? So far, he sounds pretty reasonable, a little centrist, but he understands the right. He's showing that he understands the right. See, God mode has to be trolling, right? Like, this is literally the entire stream. That I think he's a troll, but he acts like he's always serious. There's no way he's serious. There's no way he's just doing exactly what I'm talking about. That would be ridiculous. Okay, fellas. Now, time to criticize the right, okay? We heard a lot of the issues with the left. He has shown immense understanding with the right. But he has to be a centrist, okay? Think God mode enabled right now, okay? He's got to be a centrist, Nazis are still out there. They're still a threat. So let's see.
In my recent video called All My Beliefs That the Left Would Shoot Me for Having, I outlined some core beliefs that a subsection of the left, known as the freak left, would like to see me shot for. And in this video, I'll share a few beliefs that a subsection of the right, known as the freak right, would be happy to see me deported to an El Salvadorian concentration camp for having. So let's begin. White identitarianism is garbage.
Right there. They would like to see me. Okay, well, they don't have the power. It's something that someone said online. So right now, I'm like, okay, well, whatever. Somebody, you know what the left would like to see happen? I ain't deported. Like, okay, doesn't really seem very equivalent.
Garbage. There are a lot of right-wingers who are adopting a increasingly race-centered view of the world, and this is a terrible and anti-social.
Well, has the left been, and Moose, been anti-white institutionally, governmentally, across the West for generations now? So like, okay, well, this is an understandable response. Not only that, but I mean, if you're a liberal, I mean, freedom of association, other groups get to collectivize except for white people. Every group gets to except for white people. So I don't even understand what the issue is in any capacity with white people collectivizing, especially when it's been intentionally, like, white people are going to have a higher inclination to collectivize and have a sense of heritage, especially when it was whites that built the country, but especially when it's been deprived from them for generations. So, okay.
Social idea. Now, it must be pointed out, one of the key reasons, if not the key reason, that people are doing this is in reaction to several decades of anti-white sentiment that has permeated the culture.
Americans have no culture except for multicultural. Well said.
And we need to teach people how to embrace that. These present white people need to learn how to embrace it.
We need to teach white people how to learn how to embrace it. They need to be taught, right? This is what I'm saying by manufactured. This is what I'm saying by top down. So he's already reaffirming this point. I'm still waiting to see how the right is so dangerous. You know, why we should focus on the right at all. Okay.
It literally says here, whiteness is a bad deal, and it has a symbol of Satan. And this is the contract that they say whiteness brings.
God mode, where'd you go, you pussy?
And children are getting this book.
It is a basic psychological principle that when you attack a part of someone's identity, they will feel a greater desire to have an affinity with that part of their identity.
Yes. Now, there's two ways to do this. There is the oppositional identity of I'm going to do this just because I'm told not to, right? But then there's people that go, well, wait a minute. Maybe there's an actual truth here. And maybe there is something in my blood, in my bones, that I have a deeper connection to, right? Some people are going to have, the pagans, deeper connection to their race than God. And then Christians will have a deeper connection to God, but also validate their race. So this is the start of a much deeper conversation that's been restricted across the West for generations.
Response. And so in theory, there's actually nothing wrong with being pro-white if it was done in the same spirit as self-respecting people who are pro-black or...
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Why can't the pro-whites be like the pro-blacks? I'm sorry. Wait a minute. I shouldn't apologize. Okay. I don't understand. Let me hear that again.
If it was done in the same spirit as self-respecting people who are pro-black or pro-Hispanic or pro-Asian or whatever. You can be pro...
Well, those demographics are already allowed to be that way, Paul. Do you see how everything ideologically to the centrist is just pigeonholed and in a box? Yeah, the whites have been targeted and not being allowed to be pro-white for generations. And all those other groups have been encouraged by moos and commies to collectivize. So these are two things that don't draw a good analogy because of the manufactured top-down pressure preventing white people from associating with each other on the base of race, compared to blacks have a whole month and it's popularized in society and by mooish NGOs. Right? Centrist opinion is kind of dumb, not very truth-driven. He's leaving some things out because it has to fit into his centrist ideology.
Your own race without being racist or anti someone else's race. The problem is, in practice, almost every manifestation I see of pro-white identity is accompanied by...
Okay. 18.7 thousand followers. Okay. Probably see, now we have to have a Telegram. Okay. Because we're being targeted. I was in the Proud Boys, which is civic nationalist, and they brought up multiracial white supremacy to still call us white supremacists. Okay.
By all kinds of ideological and psychological garbage.
Race mixing is cruel. It's an insult to your ancestors. Okay. I'm sorry. And? Do I agree with that? No. Do I think it's crazy that someone thinks that? Absolutely not. Do I validate that guy for saying that? Absolutely. Have you seen what we've gone through? Yes. It's a reasonable response to what's been going on. Absolutely. What am I going to tell a guy to not say that? White people are going away. We're a global minority. And so that position logically and spiritually makes sense. It's a reasonable position. That's normal, by the way. That's a normal thought to have because black people get to have that. This is a normal thought to have. I don't feel that way, but that doesn't make it not normal. Is that more weird than cutting off a kid's dick? Okay, dude. So far, this doesn't seem to be nearly in the same ballpark as your complaints with the leftists, but let's keep listening.
Many people, including the majority of people on the sane right, believe that all people are made in the image of God. And a lot of the race-first white identitarianism is coming from this sort of Nietzschean atheist or even pagan worldview, which I'm not allowed to talk about on YouTube without getting censored for hate.
Oh, why do you suppose you weren't allowed to talk about something that revolves around talking about the moose, Paul. Why do you suppose that is? And why do you suppose, Paul, that the people you're not allowed to talk about virtually always line up with the left and aid and abet the left in all of their billions of dollars of NGOs? Odd. I'm sorry, am I supposed to be criticizing the right? Okay, go ahead.
Speech. But what I will say is that I find it hilarious that a bunch of white pagans are telling me that it would be immoral for me to marry and have children with someone who isn't white.
Why do you find that weird? That's like, in game theory, the natural conclusion of a faction of people that would develop. You don't have to agree with it, but you really don't understand it? Really? I don't, like, obviously, they're going to exist. I've talked to pagans, and it's like, yeah, I completely understand their epistemology. It's a sound epistemology. I just don't share it in the same way that, I'm an atheist, but like, I just feel like these things are very easy to understand why somebody would come to these conclusions. And then a more deeper discussion can happen. But they're immovable because, they have a consequentialist mission, right? We need more white people, and anything getting in the way of that needs to be eliminated. I mean, that just makes perfect sense. How do you think our enemies gained power? With that mindset. And then we have to deprive pagans of having that mindset. And obviously, Christians and pagans going to argue and whatnot. But it's not a war in the street like fucking Minnesota. Like, dude, I'm struggling to find the motivation right now. I'm starting to fucking lose it.
On what basis are you making that moral claim? The white racialists say it's natural to feel a greater affinity to your own kin, which is true. That's why it's perfectly reasonable to love your own family.
Whites built the West. Okay? When we look at the best places in the world, the freest places in the world, they're white countries. Do you understand that? Now, how could you possibly counter that? You think it's a fucking accident? I'm going to lose it.
And children more so than the strangers in the town over. But who are you to tell me where I draw the boundaries of who I consider my kin or my...
It's their opinion. It's their prescription for society, which is much less threatening than the people in power that won't let whites collectivize and are also Democrats that are ruining their cities for generations now. Yeah, of course he thinks that. You gonna fucking cry about it, you pussy? Little fucking bitch. Yeah, he thinks that about me too. So? Big fucking five-headed ass motherfucker.
My in-group. I believe in evolution, which means that all human beings come from the same genetic lineage. And if you want to arbitrarily draw your in-group, out-group boundaries between white Europeans and everyone else, you're free to do that. But don't pretend that makes you morally...
Now, you see, this is why I call myself an atheist, okay? So he loves to invoke Christianity, okay? Now, I'm actually honest with the fellas, okay? This guy loves to invoke Christianity, but he also has, where's this video? Talking to a pastor about my struggle with Christianity, right? Now he gets to have one foot in Christianity when it's convenient, okay? And that gives him enough levity and confidence to tell you about Christianity when he's not even non-denominational. He's just kind of cultural Christian and kind of flirts with it, okay? Those motherfuckers are your enemy. I'm telling you, I don't believe Jesus Christ exists. It's not because of any affront to you. I haven't grown up around it. It's been very confusing. I'm not going to lie to you about that, but this motherfucker is trying to squirm his way in and then be in a position to hold your own Christianity against you. Do I hold your own Christianity against you? No, that's not my fucking lane. I'm an atheist. Do you see how simple that is? But him, he can kind of worm his way in there and be like, hey, I'm kind of one of you, so I can... That shit pisses me off.
Superior to me when I draw my in-group, out-group boundaries between my fellow God-fearing American citizens and degenerate pagans like yourself. I do not feel a greater sense of kinship with someone in a Europe.
And this is a good point. You're more Christian than you realize. Fellas, which also includes ladies. I don't know how the fuck women are coming in here. But fellas, what is more important? The declaration or the fruit? Okay? What is more important?
European country that I've never been to than I do with my Asian or Hispanic friend who I grew up with and have a shared history in this country with. If you think white people's problems would be solved by focusing more on race, I encourage you to get back to your medieval map-based strategy games and learn more about the interethnic horror.
Now, do you notice how he wasn't this cunty toward the left, right? You see how toward the right, he has to be kind of like bitchy and like talking down? This is still a part of the left in him where he thinks racism exists, and so the most vile thing has to be racism, right? He's like, oh, the fact that you align with a race like that, let me tell you, but your religion and your race.
That occurred between the English, Scottish, and Irish, for example. Again, it's possible to be pro-white in a way that isn't antisocial. And as white people become a minority, it's probably good that that feeling gets sublimated into something positive.
Yeah, great solution, dude. Okay, who do you think white people are going to listen to more? You're like, yeah, and probably somebody else can create some... No, time's ticking, dude. Okay? And sorry those dudes hurt your feelings by thinking whatever about you, that you would have mixed race kids, but I don't know. That's just a part of being on the right wing. Free speech, man. Yeah. The right wing, they don't act nice to you. Here's what it is. I'm from around Boston. We are known for being assholes, but we're honest, and people find that endearing because we'll say it to your face. Okay. There's a spiritual Bostonianism with the right wing. The right wing will just tell you how they feel. Now with the left, they put up a front. They're more like the Southerners, right? They'll be like, oh, hey, Puddin', want some sweet tea? And then talk shit about you behind your back, okay? People appreciate honesty, and the right wing is honest. He's like, oh, yeah, this is what I think about you. It's the same thing that, like, Nick Fuentes says, and it's refreshing. Because how many times you lied? Like, this is why Trump won. Because he was saying things, but you knew where you stood with him. There was so many black people that were like, hey, he's racist, but at least he's being honest about it. Like, yeah, exactly. This is the issue people have. Oh, I'm getting mad. Okay. TBP for $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Shout out to how much of an absolute wiener this Jung guy is. And all my fellows and fellers, YouTube doesn't let me say what I really want. Well, that is true. And this is why we have to be a little bit subversive, okay? Honest, but you see the point that I'm making? Where like they're being honest with him and it hurts his feelings. That's the leftism still inside of him. If I'm on the right wing, like I'm an atheist and my audience is fucking Christian, dude. You don't think I've heard some stuff from people that I'm like, oh, well, but of course they think that! You moron! Of course the pagans think that about you. Oh, it's so morally disgusting. Compared to what? You don't have I'm so mad. You don't have a principle. You're a centrist. And you dabble your toe in Christianity. You don't have the moral backing to fucking be offended. That's what it is. It's show. It's theater.
Than how it's manifesting now. But until I see anything approximating a pro-social, pro-white attitude that isn't racist towards other people, I'm going to call out white identitarianism for what it is. Garbage. Too many people.
And that was, okay, so compared to the left, okay? So white identitarianism is garbage, even though he thinks that it can be done well. He just doesn't know how it can be done well. And he's not going to have any prescriptions for how it can be done well, which is where I come into play, by the way. But, you know, people that think race mixing is bad, so it's dumb. I'm sorry. And we're comparing this to the left. Okay, dude. Nice centrism. It would be a shame if somebody were to co-opt it and make it right wing, pussy.
People on the right hate women. There's an increasingly pathetic anti-woman sentiment that is growing on the right and contributing to the whole-scale degeneration of the social fabric here in the West. Unless you are truly...
Paul, I watched the pussy change, buddy. Okay? There's a whole generation of men in their 20s that don't know what pussy was like. You could actually be yourself. You could do that. Not be mean to them, but not just suck their toes and do it and just do whatever they said and give them some flirty pushback and banter. That existed, and they respected it, and they liked it. That's gone now. You can't just deny how much the pussy game has changed, bro.
Psychologically damaged. Videos like this should disgust you.
Fuck the woman! What? No, wait.
Okay, what? And then he shows Sneeko compared to what? All of the thousands of Mooish NGOs. I'm sorry. Does Sneeko have institutional power? Oh, no, I'm sorry. He's been banned and canceled from many platforms. Right. So, I don't know. Do any of us like Sneeko? I don't think so. I don't think about him. I don't care about him. Like, okay, that's what you got in response?
We love women. We love women. We love women.
But not like transgenders.
Yes, sir. We love everybody. No.
All gays
Yeah,
should
fuck
die.
gays. Yeah, Mark. Preach.
Can't help but notice he's leaving their dicks intact. So, I mean, when we compare this to the threat of the enemy, like, I don't know, he's a Muslim! Oh, you fucking moron. He's a Muslim. But he's right-wing, he's the right. See, it doesn't work. You just can't equivocate the left and the right like that. It is two different animals. Actually, one's an animal and one's human.
I recently saw a post on X criticizing the elevation of left-wing comedians like Stavros Halkias as a bad role model for males, which you can debate about either way.
He's wearing cat ears, okay? Kind of gay, kind of femme, and I don't know, gay streamers do that, so I understand that intuitively.
But what was most interesting is the behaviors that were being criticized as degenerate were binge eating takeout punctuated by sports gambling, casual cross-dressing, and respecting women. It's like, what the fuck? Respecting women is as bad as paying to get microplastic infused slop delivered to your door. Any movement that has this juvenile and resentful, bitter little attitude.
Oh, the movement has that, by the way. See, that random person said that. This is the stretch you have to make when you're criticizing the right versus the left. The left is literally a mortal and spiritual threat. And what he has to do, because he has to be a centrist, he's a pussy and a coward, is that he has to find random things online. Who else does that? Oh, the left? When they try to call out the right, they find anything online and say that's the right, okay? Do you see the potential he has? He understands, but he has to contrive his position as a centrist. You are not going toward truth. You are using truth as a mask.
Towards an entire gender is a degenerate one and doesn't deserve to succeed. Now,
out of all the things we've covered, degenerate. Not respecting women is degenerate, dude. Not all the tranberries. No. Not letting in all the illegal immigrants. No. Not the fact that the left has no family values. No. Which degenerate is being frustrated by being on the right wing in the fact that most women are on the left wing. And even if they're not, even just so they understand to not call you a racist when you're pointing out crime statistics, okay? The pool of women is so unbelievably small in the West. And that is the issue, okay? But that's degenerate. Interesting criticism. Which one do I choose? The left or the right so far? I should really go in the center. It's a really tough decision.
Keeping with the theme of correctly blaming the left for many of the problems that it causes on the right, because the right is reactionary and by definition reacts to things, I think it's fair to
God forbid you have a reaction.
Say that a lot of this right-wing misogyny is a overreaction, a demented, maladaptive reaction to the genuine anti-male sentiment that has become so normalized in popular culture. It's
okay, so we go back to institutional power, where feminism was pushed throughout society by the moos, by the commies, by academics, and men have been targeted for generations now, okay? Sorry they're having a reaction to that, and I'm sorry, Paul, that someone online said that respecting women is stupid. I'm so sorry. I can't believe they would have that reaction, all right? You don't want to know. Here's the thing. I can say the worst things about women, okay? And women seem to understand the type of women I'm talking about. I also have expressed how, difficult it is for women that get along with men to make friends that are male because they just want to fuck them, okay? I am the worst person to talk to if you're the wrong woman, and the best person to talk to if you're a regular, normal woman that also understands these complex issues, okay?
It's almost boring.
How would you describe your perfect man?
Funny. He has to have a really good sense of humor.
Now describe how you would kill that man.
I would probably make it look like an overdose.
Wow. Oh my gosh, Julia.
Yeah. You'll never know.
And are you pro women killing men?
I think that if the man deserves it, yeah, why not?
Kitty, be good. What am I supposed to do? Hang out with women? A lot of women feel that way because of how crazy not just normal women are. Normal women are kind of crazy, but the women nowadays are absolutely insane. So exactly. I get it. I've talked to women like you. But I've talked to men that also hate women. Yeah. But I think we all understand that the issue is the God, it's commie moves, bro. This is manufactured. Once you realize it's manufactured, okay? When you see people acting out and saying these things, you understand what they're saying. You can read between the lines. And that, fellas, is what cohesion is.
Men kill women all the time for no reason.
Wow. Should men be allowed to have opinions?
No. No.
Just on Showtime, you know. Again, institutional backing. I hate to beat you over the head with it, but I can't beat his head with anything because of how fucking huge it is.
Now, to be completely honest, I love Z-Way. Okay, her interviews with Caleb Heron and George Santos are some of the best videos on the internet. You should stop watching this one and go watch those instead. But I just don't see how casually joking about killing men if they deserve it is any different from men.
Is that degenerate? Talking about killing men? Just curious. He uses the word degenerate. Maybe he'll call it degenerate.
Saying, well, women deserve to be hit if they deserve it. It's all the same kind of lowbrow humor in my opinion.
Oh, see, it's all the same. Sean Connery saying that at a certain point, you should lay a hand on a woman to wake her the fuck up, which women in chat understand that you don't start with a strike, but they've seen how crazy women are, and they wish that they could give them a fucking smack and go, shut up, listen, you're being crazy, you're being hysterical, okay? That's the same as saying kill men. Okay. See how we have to both sides it, you know? Death, taxes, and a centrist having to fucking both sides everything. This is the James Lindsay influence. It's, you know, there has to be a black and white. There has to be opposing forces. One can't be more right than the other. That is what's killing the push to the right wing because, fellas, we're getting an influx of right-wingers, okay? But it's motherfuckers like this that are causing a bottleneck. And I'm going to wage a war on them. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart that you're interested in this fucking content. Because I was afraid. I'm like, you know, the left, it's too low-hanging fruit. It's not even fun anymore. I can't even watch them debate. So thank you very much for being on board with this arc of content.
Opinion.
So I've had this argument with a feminist before. She's like, oh, well, we've never tried matriarchies. We've only tried patriarchies, blah, blah, blah. And I said, listen, bitch.
I don't think this is funny. I don't like Andrew Tate. I think he trafficked women, okay? There. Do you notice how there's no emotion behind what I'm saying? I think it's because of the mortal threat from the fucking left, because it's one fucking guy that did that, dude, compared to what the left is doing now. I can make those concessions. My arguments are so strong, I can concede everything they're saying. Oh.
Yes, they have been.
Dude, fellas, come on. If I was able to cry, I would. My word. Oh my God. I'm a Southerner, and I'm going to call the moose. Yeah. Hopefully it spreads. Agile Walrus, okay, member. Thank you very much. Plenty of stuff there. Go through the catalog. Flavius, Ignatius, $20. Thank you so much. For the war chest. Well, I need you to understand something. I had no idea that I was going to, even 6 months ago, this wasn't a thing that I was going to be. The level of imposter syndrome I still have right now is insane because of how fast all of this is happening. And I'm just trying to keep up. Speaking of keeping up, Lazarus, $5. Love this content, brother. Keep it up. They keep telling me to keep it up. What am I going to do? Tell them no? So even if I don't feel it, or even if I'm insecure, I'm like, well, that's irrational because this is all new and happening, you know? This is how you can battle past these things that hold you back in life.
Try. If you allow this kind of low frequency misogyny or misandry to foster resent inside of you for the entire opposite sex, that's a problem, and that's a you problem more than anyone else. Now, there are men and women whose experience with the opposite sex is so bad that I do have empathy for a lot of the, what appears to be overreaction to the opposite sex's behavior. If you're a woman who's been abused and...
Men, it's not an overreaction, okay? It is not an overreaction. Women have all the power, okay? And they are really, really mean with it, dude.
And victimized by an aggressive and violent and almost always much larger and physically stronger male, I'm a bit more inclined to empathize with and understand the whole, hashtag men are trash attitude. And if you're a man who's been falsely accused of sexual assault or had your life destroyed by some psychopathic female in a divorce court, for example, I can understand.
Yeah. So, when I was 19, broke up with my girlfriend and told the cops that I beat her up. Year-long restraining order against me, and she would follow me around, so I had to leave where I was, and they let her do it. And I talked to the cop and told him, he goes, yeah, I know, this is just how it is. So, I understand.
And why you wouldn't care less about complaints about toxic masculinity. A progressive podcaster called Matt Bernstein made a video about a year ago.
Progressive? That's a lot of syllables for demon.
Called How the Right is Winning Young Men. And one woman left this incredibly interesting comment. Was scared to click on this video because sometimes I feel like I am literally an unironic misandrist at this point, especially after being cheated on by a long-term male partner. Like, I do be consuming misandrist content to make myself feel better, which ultimately parallels the same patriarchal oppressive rhetoric in misogynistic communities and totally contributes to further uphold.
Do you notice the disinterest your ears might have by listening to him speak right now? Front loading this with like the complaints of the left, right? Like, I'm sorry, like what are we, how is the right in any way remotely close to the threat of the left? This is the beliefs that the right would deport you for okay, yeah.
The gender binary. I don't know. It's so hard for me as a woman, having been disrespected by men, seeing my friends and family disrespected by men, to have empathy for them at this point, especially after the election. I don't want to contribute to further division, but it's so hard. I love this comment because it's representative of someone honestly struggling with, two opposing parts of themselves. One, acknowledging the real resent they have and maybe justified resent they feel, while recognizing the negative, effects that produces on society. And you could very easily envision a young man writing effectively the same comment from the opposite perspective. Anti-woman and anti-male attitudes are almost always maladaptive
Anti-woman and anti-male attitudes. Now, there has been institutional backing with the anti-male attitude, okay? Okay. The reaction, sorry for having a reaction to that, okay? However a man wants to react to that outside of physical abuse and whatnot, but using like very frustrated, expressive language, yeah, obviously, dude. You don't understand? Like, they're not the same. Like, what are you talking about? The centrist stuff, this is why it's poison. Because someone's going to go like, yeah, like, like leftism has you shove everything down as a white person, okay? Centrism goes, you don't have to shove it all down, but don't let it out. Right wing goes, let it out, dude. Yes, let it out. It's very unfair. Yes. You are a victim. Yes, you are a victim of people specifically oppressing you. Yeah. Yep. I'll use their language. I'll co-opt that. I'll co-opt all their fucking words, dude, because it's fucking true. Yes, you did not choose for this to happen. And it's very distressing to realize that these things are happening. Yeah. So people are going to be fucking pissed off about it, dude. Fuck off.
Psychological reactions to the excesses of the legitimately awful antisocial behavior of the opposite sex. And having the self-awareness to acknowledge that, like this woman does, is based as fuck. So how about all the men on the right who think that women need to get back into the kitchen, do a little bit of self-reflection on your own psyche?
See, the get back in the kitchen thing, it's like, well, no. Like, they should be at home raising the kids, so crazy feminists, commies, and moos aren't raising their kids. Or Somalis at a daycare center where they can't even spell. It's not just get back in the kitchen. That's what the left says. Stop diddling kids, Paul, okay? You got to cut it off completely. Paul, I know you want to diddle kids, okay? It's who you are, okay? But you have to cut it off completely. You can't even do it a little bit, okay? It's not good for the soul. You have to cut it off completely.
Psychological trauma, because right now, too many people on the right hate women. It's okay to be gay. There's some on the right who believe that we should discourage people from being gay, which is definitely how that works. For example, here
we go, fellas. Now, I'm atheist, liberal, civnat, right-winger, okay? How am I going to handle the gay question? How do we modify this? Let's see.
Matt Walsh's truly insightful and definitely not completely shallow advice for gay people.
But at least with premarital sex, they have the hope and the option to one day get married. What would you have gay people do?
It's a difficult road, that's for sure. But
so they should do nothing. They should have no sex ever. What if you have gay people that are also that they meet other gay people, they love each other, they want to have sex? They should.
Now, my liberal brain has thought like Joe Rogan. Idealistically, ideologically, philosophically, okay?
Avoid that because of what? Because it's written somewhere? Because at one point in time, someone believed that God told them that they shouldn't have sex with other men?
Well, we're having now we're in the realm of a moral conversation. And that's my moral view.
Look, it's morally correct to reject all of this 2S LGBTQIA++ premium ideology that is being shoved down everyone's throats. And there's plenty of gay people who would agree with that. But pretending that being gay...
Those gay people that agree with that? Hold on, I'll let them finish.
Gay is just a lifestyle choice, and you can get people to stop being gay by showing them an alternative moral path is delusional. A lot of people will make the argument that being gay is unnatural because how could evolution have produced an organism that doesn't reproduce? But this is a deeply mistaken argument both at the level of evolutionary theory and behavioral genetics. Evolution regularly produces organisms that don't reproduce themselves. For example, in beehives.
So I do share this argument where, there's women that can't conceive, right? So that's always been difficult for me to get around where God says it's unnatural because it can't reproduce. And it's like, well, there's women that can't reproduce, right? So to me, that's not a compelling argument.
Or naked mole rat colonies, all of the reproduction is done by a single queen and a few males that impregnate her. The overwhelming majority of the rest of the individuals do not reproduce. They just contribute to the hive or colony by working. Human beings and our evolutionary ancestors lived in tribes for millions of years. And having a few homos in your tribe that have sort of a natural form of birth control and don't produce kids.
Do you guys remember what leaked about Glenn Greenwald by any chance on X? Do you remember how he has 2 adopted sons and some pictures leaked about him in a little skimpy outfit getting piss in his face? Anybody ever catch that? Excellent. I'm seeing some yeses in chat. I've known a lot of gay people, okay? I've been to gay clubs, okay? How am I going to rank this? I would say in terms of there's more women that disagree with feminism, okay? And then below that, there's more black people that disagree with the leftist, communist, moo narrative. And then the amount of gay people that are not fucking filthy, disgusting degenerates. I've talked to them about the things that they've done. Many of them. Oh, I know a lot, okay? So ideologically, I agree with Joe Rogan, okay? But I'm a materialist, okay? It's a very large portion of the community that is degenerate beyond your innocent Christian imaginations, okay? And also, there is a massive crossover with men in their 40s finding, early 20s, a Harvard professor. I had a 19-year-old gay tell me about a Harvard professor that's 40 that he hooked up with, okay? So there's very common for 20-year age gaps, and then even below the age of 18 as well, okay? I know this for a fact in the frequency in which it happens, okay? So what really conquers the idea, the genetic stuff, Paul, is a lot of stuff that they don't want to be public that I know about what they do, and it's a lot of them, and it's way too many of them. So that's the reality of it. It's not enough good ones. I don't know where they are. Yeah, it really is degenerate, you know?
On their own can be helpful because they dedicate more time and resources to helping their nieces and nephews, which are still their kin and still have the same genes that would otherwise get reproduced by their own children. Here's Robert Sapolsky to explain.
What would that look like? Where is the evidence for that? What one would predict.
Mind you, this is a criticism of the right wing right now, okay? It's not even fucking equivalent, dude. I'm gonna fucking lose it. I gotta end the streams. I'm gonna TOS too hard. Okay. We're going to slowly wind down right now. We're not mad. We're happy. Why are we mad? What are we mad about right now? It's okay. It's okay. Here we go.
Predict is that you would see for gay men that their sisters have a higher than average reproductive rate. And that is absolutely there in the literature. The third model is the helper at the nest model, which is that the individual who traditionally is not passing on copies of their own genes directly, instead would.
No, but I'm like vibrating with anger right now. And you can tell because listen to my voice, okay? This is subduing it.
They're doing is expending resources on helping their siblings. Okay, so that kind of sounds.
You want to know what it is? It's when I go back and think about my life, I have to confront all of the lies that I've been brought up around. That's what it is. So I'll go back and think about something from like 10 or 15 years ago, and it's just a lot of things are revealed to me about how much I've been lied to my entire life, and it is a volcano that's always ready to erupt.
Sounds like the second model also. What's the difference? The second model says that sisters of gay men should have increased reproductive rates. What the third model, the helping at the nest model, suggests is both sisters and brothers should have increased reproductive rates, and that's actually what's mostly been seen.
Now, we also know that being gay very likely has a genetic component because of the fraternal birth order studies that have been highly replicated. These studies repeatedly find that the more...
I'm sorry. Who do you think is conducting these studies? Do you think it's Christians? Who do you think... I am so not compelled by studies because I've seen the studies that the left puts out. And who do you think put out the study? Who do you think would put out the study that gay is biological? Okay. I discount that wholesale.
The older brothers a male has, the higher the likelihood that that person will grow up to be a gay adult. This is likely to...
This is the epitome of correlation doesn't equal causation. Okay. Let me just take a short break. With the war chest. Content, keep it up. Flavius Echinacea gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. It really is a security risk when you gift memberships. I don't know who you're letting behind the paywall, but that's what we do, okay? You never know. And I know how to handle these things. I've been passively watching for long enough, but really, go through the catalog, fellas. You got some long form content. You got some content from me from, 7 years ago. It's like a little diary. Scavenge for $10. Thank you so much. This reminds me of my Braving Ruins, Ran of the Net, Centrists Don't Exist. And this was 7 years ago. They always lean more toward the left when you nail them down in beliefs. This is why. So, I didn't know that. If that's true from 7 years ago, it must be eradicated now then, because that is a bottleneck. It doesn't stop, but it slows it down way too much. Death Takes, $10. Thank you so much. This one's for the fellas, the best fellas. Oh, man, I need a ciggy so soon. I need to relax. I'm remembering so many things. It's a trauma-based response. It really is.
Due to the amount of testosterone that the embryo is exposed to in utero. And most interestingly, it seems fraternal birth order only affects males who are right-handed, which indicates there may be a very clear genetic component
about
here.
what
If you're
this fucking
left-handed,
guy
it
is
doesn't matter
talking
how many
about
older
right
brothers
now.
you have. It doesn't change the likelihood of you being gay or not. Nor does it matter how many older sisters you have. And since I've cited a few studies, I am now
he's also
licensed to
criticizing the
speculate
right.
my own hypotheses without any empirical evidence. Clip this. I think being gay is like having diabetes. Okay, there's type 1 and type 2. Type 1 diabetes is the one you're born with, and
Type 2 your uncle gives to you?
Type 2 is what you get and develop due to environmental factors later on in life. I think being gay is similar to that in that you have type 1.
I don't give a shit what you think being gay is because I've seen what being gay is. And that's the whole opinion. Go ahead and rationalize it. Go ahead and get studies. You want to look at the CDC studies? Or fucking STDs? They literally had to create a drug so they could not give AIDS to each other. Oh, okay. All right. Let's keep watching. Let's wrap this up.
And type 2. Type 1, which is the majority of gay people, is you're born with it. However, I do think there are, a small number of people who are type 2 gay, which is the kind of gay that you become when you're exposed to environmental factors of various kinds, maybe sexual trauma, maybe certain chemicals. I don't know. But I do know that there are many gay people who will tell you the same thing. The point is, just because there might be a small number of gay people who actually can have their behavior change, the idea that all gay people are like that.
Now, I do remember, like, that there was gay kids. I know that sounds weird, but, like, I could tell they were gay, but they've also been brought up in a society where, like, you can just be gay. Like, I don't know. Imagine if somebody was brought up in a society where you can prostitute yourself. Do you think we'll have more people prostituting themselves? Were they born to prostitute themselves? Like, with these inclinations, like, sure. Like, what about people that are like PDF files? Like, yeah, but you can't. But you can't do that. Like, I don't know. Like, you can't imagine a world you never lived in. When you realize that your entire world has been manufactured since post World War II, you go, oh, okay, well, but everything's manufactured, so it would make sense that we allowed that to happen. Just so everyone knows, being gay was a mental illness until 1972 in the DSM. I believe they took it off the DSM in 1972. So it was a mental illness while my parents were alive, which they never talk about, by the way. They don't know any of this shit. But yeah, it was considered a mental illness until 1972. So these things aren't as distant as they want to make you think they are.
Or that it's fair to just tell gay people they should just adopt a different lifestyle. That is an unnatural and ridiculous point of view, and the right should drop that and instead just say it's okay to be gay. Donald Trump.
Well, we can't even say it's okay to be white, Paul. So go suck Destiny's dick. TOS.
Trump is a degenerate cult leader. Donald Trump sucks. He does a few good things like fixing the broken asylum process to prevent people from flooding into our country, which even Bernie Sanders.
And then what? Criticizing the president? Oh, really strong positions against the right, huh?
Acknowledges as being a good thing.
So
Oh my God.
has historically the United States done well under Democrats and Republicans in protecting the border? The answer is no. Trump did a better job.
I feel like Jim Carrey in Liar Liar, where like I can't break TOS because I'm on YouTube. I'm like fat, you fucking fat. Royal blue.
I don't like Trump, but we should have a secure border, and it ain't that hard to do. Biden didn't do it. Those before him did not do it. We should have a secure border, period.
But guess what? Mass deportations and the way that's being done are not good. Deportations are fine when it's criminals and people who've come here like in the last year or two. But when you go after people who've been here for most of their adult life and childhood, that's degenerate and antisocial.
That's degenerate and antisocial now, fellas. Do we notice that, again, he wasn't really using that term for transing kids? Hating white people publicly, saying we should kill men, right? That, well, that's bad, all right? But deporting someone, now, I understand what he's saying is a contentious opinion, all right? But to wholesale call it degenerate and antisocial, I mean, we have to draw the line somewhere and set a standard and reverse the trends in the country. So I understand both sides. I could be swayed to either side, but none of it's crazy. None of it's degenerate in comparison to the left. I'm going to break TOS, dude. We gotta
This is
hurry
a
up.
manifestation of conservative autism, where the entire conception of morality is you broke a rule, you get the punishment. There's no consideration of any of the relevant context that actually.
What the fuck do you think Christianity has been, you fucking, you stupid white, you white, I can do it. I'm going to break TOS. You fucking, I can't do it. This curse. I have to wait until my child's birthday is over. I'm losing it, dude. I can't.
Actually matters in evaluating the morality of a decision, right? It doesn't matter that a child that was brought here when they were 2 years old has no agency in the matter. Their parents committed a crime, so they all need to go back. That's demented. The crime of stripping someone of the only life that they've ever known.
This is a leftist talking point. Now he's emotional. This gets him emotional. Being white and seeing how white people have been absolutely castigated, that doesn't wake him up. What wakes him up is, then this is the same thing with the leftist, the Somali kids. That really pisses him off. This really makes him emotional as other people's problems. That's why you have to be right wing.
And shipping them off to some country that they have no memory of is far worse and a far greater crime than whatever thing the parents did to get over here illegally. You can enforce a country's laws without being cruel and unusual, and Trump is not really doing a good job at that. When it comes to the economy, Trump has failed with his big, beautiful bill, which just pours more.
The fucking economy. The fucking economy, dude. They're in the streets. They're in the streets blocking ice, and you got the fucking economy? It's controlled by the moose. Dude. Oh, wow. I wonder which side we should go to. Let's stay in the center.
More money into the military-industrial complex and does nothing to address the ever-skyrocketing deficit and national debt. And on top of that, Trump is literally just
Phoenician says, fellas, I'm out of here. Good night. God bless. You should all know Phoenician is doing incredible things in the background in this community. You all should know that. When you see his name, you should know he's doing some really big things in the background.
Israel's bitch, and aside from endorsing psychopaths like Randy Fine, he also went out of his way to...
You see, he's just a psychopath.
Remove sanctions on Israeli settlers, which is among the most demented and pathetically weak and immoral foreign policy moves one can make. And let's just be honest, he's probably in the Epstein files, which is why they haven't been released. And yes, I know if the Democrats were not so utterly incompetent, they would have actually put up a viable alternative. But yeah, we could have had Bernie Sanders, who wouldn't have poured more money into the military-industrial complex, who would have probably secured the border, and who would have stood up to Netanyahu. But
he thinks Bernie Sanders would have secured the border. Dude, what fucking good are you? All you're good for is getting in the fucking way.
But because Bernie Sanders is a straight white male, that is unacceptable in 2025. And so we got Trump, who is in fact a degenerate.
I have to piss so badly and smoke a cigarette, fellas. Oh, man. That's cathartic, you know? That was really cathartic. Oh, wow. What's going on? Ah. Okay, test $5. Thank you so much. This is pure copium storytelling, aka evolutionary psychology. It's pure pseudoscience. Yes. Oh no, it's a hard science, right? It says the word fucking science in it, right? So it must mean it's fucking the truth, right? Evolutionary psychology could explain self-castration. Yeah, he's very much into like pop psychology, which like I want to be fine with him. I don't think you guys understand this. How much I desire to like people. I'm really a positive person and I want to like people, okay? But there's just certain qualifications we need to have a cohesive understanding of reality before we can do that. My word. I like him. I want to like him, okay? But he's getting in the fucking way. Academic Sledge for $2. Thank you. Question being, is PF Jung a socioeconomic he's a fucking I gotta wait until my son's birthday is over to say it. I'm sorry. Lack of understanding for $5, but they have an undying allegiance to that place they'd never lived in. It really is incredible. Fellas, I gave you 3 hours and 42 minutes. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thanks for going on this journey, this ride. So anyway, yeah, for the members, I'm going to do a members only post at some point tonight, giving you the no ads playlist of the streams. I can't tell you what I'm going to do. I did bang out a couple of videos on this dude. And this is like and then now this is a live stream. So been pretty content heavy. I really want to do Rumble content, but YouTube is still here. So definitely join the Rumble for when something happens. Maybe some protest stuff that I've seen. But shit, I'm like making stuff every day. I want you to understand something. I do everything for this channel, okay? A lot of people will have like an editor. They'll have like someone that does thumbnails. They'll have someone that does SEO. They'll have someone that does merch. I have done 100%, absolutely everything for this channel. It's homegrown. I do absolutely everything for this channel. I put all of myself into this channel. And the fact that it resonates with you guys and it means something to you guys is more than any money you can give me. But the money does help. Being able to set aside time to do more of these things that you view as important, as do I. Fellas, thank you so much. You've changed my life, and hopefully I can put a dent in yours. So, fellas, have a good night. Always a pleasure.